Well, well, well. Snoop Dogg said so much drama in the LBC. I say so much drama being a fan of DC. So much always going on with the Dallas Cowboys. We are the news, even when we are not the news. Today I am going to be talking about, for the majority of the show, today I'm going to be talking about an interview that Darren Woodson, who again, the MVP is a sham. The Hall of Fame is ridiculous. The fact that Darren Woodson is not in the Hall of Fame, and they put Eric Allen in the Hall of Fame before they put in Darren Woodson. Absolute travesty. Travesty. Brandy Mahoney, what's going on? Jamison Taylor, what's going on in the crib? It is absolutely crazy in the grand scheme of things. It's all I can tell you. Oh, the MVP. We'll talk a little bit about that today. The MVP. I guess it makes sense that Josh Allen got the MVP. Because it didn't make sense that Lamar Jackson got it last year over Dak Prescott. So I guess since it didn't make sense that Lamar won it over Dak, I guess they're staying with the status quo. It doesn't make sense that Josh Allen got it over Lamar Jackson. The NFL ought to be ashamed of itself. I'm just saying it. I don't know. Maybe no one else wants to say it, but the NFL should be ashamed of itself. Some of this stuff is absolutely ridiculous. So many stories today. So many today we can talk about. But we're definitely going to talk about this Darren Woodson thing. I don't know if y'all heard what Darren Woodson said, but we're about to get into it. And I'm surprised nobody's talking about it. But I can tell you this. I'm about to go in on what Darren Woodson said.
Yes! Here we go!
Brandy Mahoney in the crib. What's going on? You first in here, Jamison Taylor. Let me see here. Renan, what's going on? D. Kizzle, what's going on with you? Appreciate you. Glad you're back in the crib. All right, y'all, let's get started. Whether it's 35 or 35,000, we're about to talk Cowboys, and we're going to talk facts. Let me tell y'all something about Clarence Hill Jr. Clarence Hill Jr. and what he's done, I guess he used to be with the Dallas Morning News or one of them, and he struck out and is doing his own thing now. Clarence Hill is giving some of the best content on the Dallas Cowboys available right now. I mean, Clarence Hill is tearing it up out there on the Super Bowl circuit. I love everything he's doing. And he's asking some great questions. He's talking to some people that we absolutely want to hear from. And so I absolutely love what Clarence Hill is doing. And Clarence Hill has given us a gem, an absolute gem. Freddie from El Paso, what's going on with you? Good to see you. He has given us an absolute gem. An absolute gem. And I really think people should be paying attention to what this man, what he said about Jerry Jones, what he said about how the Cowboys won in the 90s. And Clarence Hill dropped something, man. I've been trying to look it up. I've been scouring the internet trying to find this. But Clarence Hill is going to say something in this interview that it absolutely blew my mind. I didn't know this to be true. I mean, I knew the Cowboys had a great defense during the 90s. But Clarence Hill is going to expose something in this interview that is mind-blowing to me. It's mind-blowing, and again, it's just going to give me more ammunition when I talk about the 90s Cowboys. Andre Mosley and Robert M. What's going on with y'all tonight, man? How's everything going? And so we're going to get into this interview. Andre, all the old Cowboys are coming out, man, and I'm loving everything they're talking about. Emmitt Smith, I know people don't like what Emmitt is saying, but I understand exactly what Emmitt is saying. I don't think Emmitt is hating on Ashton Jeanty. These Cowboys that they're talking to, everyone needs to understand. They are 3-time Super Bowl champions. They are 3-time Super Bowl champions. These guys know how to win. These guys absolutely know how to win. And so, when they're talking about things, they're telling us truth. They're telling us absolute truth. They're telling us based on the formula that they used in the 90s. That's what they're talking about. So when they're talking, I'm listening. I'm listening. And when I'm talking, contrary to what Joshua Taylor is saying, I'm talking facts. I'm speaking facts based on the information that I have. That's what facts are. The information that I deem to be truth. If something does not deem to be truth, then we just come back and correct it. But we are talking facts. Because at the end of the day, Joshua Taylor, whether you realize it or not, opinions should be based on fact. They should be based on fact. Because even when you're speaking an opinion, if it's based on fact, is it not true? Well, it's truth. No matter what anyone says, it's truth. People don't have to like it, but it's truth. And what I'm going to speak tonight and what I've been speaking and what I've been speaking in all these videos, it is absolute truth. It is not an opinion that the NFL MVP is a sham. Now, Joshua Taylor, you want to learn something. I just tell you, like I keep saying when I talk on these videos, stop talking football and you'll learn. If you don't want to learn from me, well, there's plenty of other content creators. But you'll learn some things about football if you'll just listen. Just like the MVP. I did a video on it today. I'm going to talk about it tonight. It is not innuendo. The NFL MVP race is a sham. It's all it is. It's the most valuable quarterback. It's not the most valuable player anymore. It's not the most valuable player. Because if we're talking the most valuable player, even for people who hate the Philadelphia Eagles, they would literally be making an argument for Saquon Barkley. If there was ever a year that it was not going to be a quarterback, so we're just going to ignore the fact that Saquon Barkley ran 2,000 yards in a single season and didn't even play the last game. And we're going to act like this man should not be, if it's the most valuable player. So what has Saquon Barkley done for the Eagles? But we'll get into that in a moment. There's so much to talk about today, I'm telling us. But it is absolute fact, these things that I'm telling us. We don't have to accept them. I'm just telling us they're absolute fact. The MVP, we just need to ignore it from this point out. Because at the end of the day, these 50 people who have been chosen to choose the MVP of the league, they're not choosing the MVP of the league. They're choosing the most valuable quarterback. And then when they choose the most valuable quarterback, it's actually not the most valuable quarterback. It's actually who they like. Because if we're basing the most valuable player on stats and what they mean to a team, then of course they got it wrong. They just got it wrong. But again, what we're going to talk about first is we're going to talk about, we're going to go into this thing with Darren Woodson. Ron, what's going on with you? Number one fact, 30 years of Jerry Jones losing. I'm going to see if I can find this thing with Jerry Jones today, man. Jerry Jones, I don't know what to say about Jerry Jones. I just don't know what to say anymore. I don't know. Janie, what's going on? Jameson, good to see you in the crib. Andre says, I disagree with Emmitt Smith. We need a great running back, not just average running back. That's why I'm campaigning for Ashton Jeanty to be drafted by the Cowboys, because we need a game changer. Now, maybe there's some more of the interview, Andre, that you're talking about, but what I got from what Emmitt Smith is saying, I didn't get him saying the Cowboys don't need Ashton Jeanty. What I heard him saying was the Cowboys don't need to get Ashton Jeanty until they come up with a plan of what they're actually going to do. Now, let me come back and agree with you on this. But where I am pushing back against Emmitt Smith, and I said it in the video, where I am pushing back against Emmitt Smith, I do think the Cowboys have a plan. I think they have a plan. I think Brian Schottenheimer has a plan. Brian Schottenheimer is going to run the ball. Now, how does the rest of the plan come to fruition? I think Emmitt, if he'll sit back and be patient, I think they're going to attempt to do exactly what they did with Troy Aikman. Troy Aikman was a turnover machine. They went and got a line. They went and got Emmitt Smith. That was the plan. They already had Michael Irvin. They went and got Alvin Harper. That was the plan. You get Daryl Johnston. You say, okay, this is going to be our identity. The Cowboys' identity in the 90s was not Troy Aikman. The Cowboys' identity in the 90s was they were a running team. And they ran the ball, and there was pretty much nothing you can do with it. And Troy Aikman, he ate off play action, which is what probably most quarterbacks want to do. They want to eat off play action, unless they're Dan Marino, Dan Fouts, Patrick Mahomes early on. But even Patrick Mahomes, you're going to see as he get older, they're going to try to work more off play action. Who doesn't want to work off play action? I mean, it opens up the whole field when you can run the ball. But yeah, I think Emmitt is talking about he just wants them to have a plan. I think that's what he's saying. And don't just get Ashton Jeanty as a splash pick, just so you can give the fans some hope, but then you don't really have a plan. But I think the Cowboys have a plan. I do. I think they have a plan. Yes, they going to get an MVP for whoever want to. I've been trying to give Josh Allen trophies and steal chokes. Yeah, they've been wanting the crown. They've been waiting for the moment and the opportunity to crown Josh Allen. Freddie says, I love the 60s and 70s Cowboys, the 80s and 90s Cowboys, the 2000 to 2010, the 2020 to present Cowboys. But if all these retired players that's speaking now have all the answers. You know, Fisher said something that I thought was kind of funny. He said that these older players have the keys to the building. I'm not sure they do, but I would say this. I would love for these older players to hang around the facility a lot more. Some of them could really put some of these guys in check. And I think, I wish Darren Woodson would be a coach on this team. I think Darren Woodson has the right kind of stuff to be a coach on this team. In particular, I think he could put Micah Parsons in line. I'm telling y'all, man, Micah Parsons, I love Micah Parsons, but this kid needs some maturity. He needs to mature. He's way, way too up on himself. He needs to mature. And I was laughing because I'm telling you, y'all might not believe it, but Warren Sapp this week, I'll see if I can find it. Warren Sapp is not impressed with Micah Parsons. And some people may say, well, Warren Sapp is jealous. Why would Warren Sapp be jealous of Micah Parsons? Why would he be jealous? I mean, it's a new era when it comes to money. I mean, I'm sure he's not jealous of his money. Why would he be jealous? Warren Sapp won Super Bowl. Warren Sapp was one of the premier defensive line players in history. Warren Sapp was an absolute monster. Absolute monster, just tenacious. Why would he be jealous of Micah Parsons? They asked Warren Sapp about Micah Parsons. And they said that he's, the guy was like, he gets 15 sacks a year. And then Warren Sapp was like, when? He said, look that stat up. Hey, you need to look that up. No, he's not getting 15 sacks a year average. And not only that, Warren Sapp, the reason why I'm pretty sure he didn't want to do a lot of talking about Micah Parsons, because he's out at the event and he doesn't want to go through the fact that, hey, man, y'all need to slow down on Micah Parsons. This kid can get a lot better than what he is. He's not playing like all-time greats the way people say he is. Those stats need context. Who, where, what, and when. He needs some maturing. He needs some maturing. And I think some of these older players, especially one of these guys like Darren Woodson could really help put some of these guys in check. Darren Woodson I'm telling y'all, Darren Woodson was an absolute monster. I just can't understand why the NFL has not put this kid. I just can't understand why they had put this man in the Hall of Fame. Yes, Vibes Tulane, Boy G. I will see. Vibe 5, is that 52 Ain? But I got you. Yeah. They cheated Dak last year. Just like, watch this, they cheated Lamar Jackson this year. They cheated Lamar Jackson. And they're not even blinking about it. They're not even blinking about it. They cheated Lamar Jackson, but I guess they're justifying it because they cheated Dak Prescott last year. I just can't believe how people with a straight face can say it's cool to do this stuff. Brandy, no doubt about it. I'm going to show it here after we get done with this Darren Woodson thing. I want y'all to check this Darren Woodson thing out. Darren Woodson is about to let us in on some stuff. Let me get some more greetings in, and then we're going to listen to Darren Woodson. Dro knows. What's going on with you? Chris Guns in the crib. Buddha, what's going on with you? D Block 88. I think that's 88 in the crib. What's going on? I see Oscar in here. What's going on? Alex, my man, what's going on with you? Robert Dudley, what's going on with you? Good to see you in here. The tongue twister, cowboy hater herder. The tongue twister, what's going on with you? What's going on? Purple Soul, good to see you. So let's get into this thing with Darren Woodson. Darren Woodson is going to drop one of the most golden nuggets I think I've heard in a while. This man is going to drop a golden nugget. I'm telling y'all, and I can't believe no one's talking about it. This man, let me pull it up. I thought I had it up already. Let me let you hear what Darren Woodson is saying. And this was, of course, before his snub. He didn't know he was going to get snubbed for the Hall of Fame again. And I'm not hating on Eric Allen by any stretch of the imagination. But if you ask Eric Allen even, I bet you he'd tell you there's no way he should be in before Darren Woodson. Darren Woodson was a terror in this league. Darren Woodson was so tough. This man played special teams. You don't typically see the starters playing special teams. Darren Woodson played special teams for a long time and was wrecking shop. This man was wrecking shop in this league. And I cannot believe they still have not let this man in the Hall of Fame. And I'm sure, at least I'm sure, what they'll probably do with all the outrage this year, they'll probably let him in next year. But this man should have been this man should already be in the Hall of Fame. It's a travesty. It's a travesty. Thanks. What's going on with you? Kevin Bryant, what's going on? Chris Guns, he says in the 1990s, they talk more about Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, and Michael Irvin and the triplets, and forget how good those Cowboys defenses were with Woody, hard-hitting safety offenses, fear crossing the middle. Man, it was a death wish. I'm telling you, boy, you better pray. If they call your number going across the middle with Darren Woodson, man, you better say your prayers in the huddle. Darren Woodson was going to end you. Darren Woodson, man, I remember a game. Darren Woodson didn't quit on the sidelines. This stuff that Patrick Mahomes do today, he tried to get to the sideline and stop. No, Darren Woodson would have all kinds of fines and suspensions. Darren Woodson didn't stop at the sideline. If your feet was in bounds, Darren Woodson would decleat you. Darren Woodson would decleat you and knock everybody on the sideline down like bowling pins. This dude was a menace. I just can't believe he don't have him in the Hall of Fame. But I want y'all to see how he opens this up. Watch this.
A very, very special guest here. We have the great Darren Woodson, 3-time Super Bowl champ, 4-time All-Pro, and Hall of Fame finalist once again. Darren, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I wonder what's wrong with your boy here.
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I walk up and you like, oh, something's wrong, man.
No.
You're in a bad mood, man.
No. I'm in a great mood, man.
So, Darren, a little insight here. You want to know what's wrong? The first 2 days, they had rock stars available at the front, right? So we got our caffeine. We got it in. We've relied on that the last 2 days.
They didn't have it?
They don't have it. This coffee ain't doing it, Darren.
I get it. Nah, I get that.
Do y'all not love this man's energy? This man's energy is crazy. See, Chris Guns, you're saying something. And I've said this before. Chris Guns, you are saying something. Let me put this comment back on the screen. People talk about the triplets. Okay, yeah, they were the triplets. This actually was not the triplets. The 92 through 96 Cowboys were loaded. They were loaded with leaders. They were loaded with great players. They were loaded with guys who held people accountable. They held each other accountable. These guys were, I'm telling you, the 92 through 96 Cowboys, I've said it once, I'll say it again. I know it's an anomaly. It was a non-salary cap era, and the Herschel Walker trade did wonders for him. But I'm telling you, that 92, and in particular, I'm going to say the 92 through 93, the 92, 93, 94, 95. So 92 through 95 seasons. Those teams are incredible. But that 92 through 93 team, I'll put that team in any era and wreck it. I'll put that team in any era and wreck it. That team was crazy. I guarantee you, you ask some people, which team, what team could you take in any era and wreck it? 92, 93 Cowboys. Wreck shop. Wreck shop. Man, I put that 92, 93 team, man, I put that up against the 70s Cowboys. And I love the 70s Cowboys. But I'm telling you, man, this 92 through 93 team, them boys on offense and defense were wrecking shop. They were actually a throwback. They were almost a throwback to those 70s teams. They would, I'm telling you, they would wreck shop. This dude, man, I love his energy. This dude like he could play right now. like he could play right now. I love this dude's energy, just the energy he's giving off. He's stepping right up to, hey, Clarence, what's your problem, man? What's your attitude? I mean, I love this dude. You could tell this is how they were. This is the 90s Cowboys attitude. This is why people don't understand when they hear these dudes talk. Man, people don't understand. These dudes different. These dudes built different. They don't believe in losing. The stuff they're seeing from the Cowboys right now is appalling to these guys. Man, they look at this stuff like this crazy. It's crazy. This dude is a beast, man. Listen to him.
That's me, too. I got to have a good cup of coffee.
I might have went out with Shannon Sharp and those guys last night a little bit, too.
Hey. Okay.
You know how it is.
Yeah, I know.
You know, Michael was there, Warren Sapp was there, you know.
Now you name dropping.
Former teammate, you know.
Yeah. Okay, I understand now why you so sluggish.
Sluggish. I'm not sluggish. I'm okay. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing good.
How's this week for you?
Life is good, man. I'm getting back from a company retreat in Palm Beach.
Right.
Nice.
So I came back this way. I flew back instead of going back to Dallas. I flew straight back from here, from Palm Beach to here, and I got energy and rested, and I'm ready to go, man.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Another Super Bowl, another week. You're up for the Hall of Fame. Butterflies, excitement. What's your mindset going into this Hall of Fame?
Man, it's always, look, she'll always look at it as it's one thing that I wanted, of course. I mean, I'd be lying to you if I told you I did not want to be recognized as one of the best players to play the game. I mean, that's hands down. But it's also family as well. It's mom, it's everybody that teachers that poured into me all those years, man. And they're asking me all the questions about the Hall of Fame and coaches and teammates and all. And I want to get in for the dudes that I played with in the 90s, man. I want the defensive guys. We got a lot of offensive guys that are in. But there's some dudes on the defense side of the ball, man. I just want to recognize them.
Right, and that's my point when I look at it. And everybody thinks about the team in the 90s. They talk about the triplets and the offensive guys. But you guys have the number one defensive league.
Yeah.
And the defense needs to be represented and needs to be represented more.
Hold on a second. Did y'all catch what Clarence Hill said? I'm trying to find this. I've been trying to look at the Dallas Cowboys defensive ranking from 92 to 96. People don't acknowledge what Clarence Hill just acknowledged. And I'm going to take it as fact what he's saying because I just can't hear him saying it if it's not true. Clarence Hill said, the Dallas Cowboys defense, and he's talking about that 92, I'm sure that 92, 93, 94, 95, and I'm sure it's probably 92 and 93. He said they were the number one defense. Let that sink in. Tell me when Tony Romo and Dak Prescott had the number one defense. We don't talk about this enough. We don't talk about this enough. The triplets immediately, Hall of Fame. Defense, everybody's kind of like, They mentioned the name on here. Yeah, Angie, we're going to look that up. Matter of fact, I see what you're saying there. Yeah, that Warren Sapp, we're gonna see if we can find that. They're going to mention a name. Does anybody remember James Washington? Oh my gosh. James Washington was an absolute head hunter. This dude would tear your head off. People do not realize these Cowboys defenses were loaded. They were loaded too. The Cowboys didn't just have to outscore you. They could hold you to points. I'm telling you, the 92-93 team in particular was so complete. So complete. I'm telling you, I put that team up against anybody. And when Clarence Hill said this, I knew those defenses were top 10. He said number one. Number one.
More than just by Charles Haley. And Dion was just there for one of the Super Bowls.
Yeah.
I mean,
now notice he mentions Charles Haley, but also he's talking about Dion. See, Dion was late to the party. Dion was the 95 Super Bowl. Charles Haley wasn't there early, but he came during the Super Bowl run. But Clarence is saying something. Those teams were loaded, super talented.
When you talk about three-time Super Bowl champion, that team, the foundation of that team, you need to be there to represent that defense
I want to represent
in that era.
Yeah.
And you deserve to be there. It's not you need to be there. You should be in there.
Them dudes taught me how to be a pro, man. I woke up every day with Tony Tolbert and Larry Brown and Kevin Smith and James Washington, Thomas Everett. I mean.
Y'all remember Thomas Everett? Oh, my gosh. Man, these teams were loaded. Now, Darren Woodson is saying something. Y'all heard me say this already. Micah Parsons desperately needs a great veteran on this team. And I don't like Micah Parsons' speech. Micah Parsons actually doesn't want veteran leadership on the team. Micah Parsons, I guess he thinks he's in college. He wants a young team. A young team is great, but you need veteran leadership. You need some guys, even if we're not talking about maybe 12, 13 guys, but you got guys been in the league 10 years. You need them on the team, Micah Parsons. You need those guys on the team. Darren Woodson said, taught him how to be a pro. I've mentioned this before. The problem with Micah Parsons, no one has taught him how to be a pro. No one's taught him how to be a pro. It's like every coach that comes in, he has to adjust to what Micah Parsons wants. I heard Micah Parsons talking about Matt Eberflus. I don't know what the scheme is going to be yet. I want to know, can he be creative? Well, how is he going to use me? How can he be creative? No, Michael, that's not what we need to be asking. No, what kind of defense are we going to build? You notice what Darren Woodson is doing? Darren is talking about players. Darren ain't just talking about Darren. Darren is talking about players. He want to represent for the players. The defense, because no one talks about this Cowboys 90s defense enough. Them boys were absolutely nasty. They were nasty all the way around. And people don't talk about them enough. And Darren Woodson was one of the greatest defensive generals you'll ever see on a football field. I'm telling you, man, a guy like this could really help someone like Micah Parsons, because Micah Parsons actually needs somebody that he can look up to rather than look down on. Like he talked about in the video, talking about, some injuries. It allows some of the older, it was an imbalance with older guys, an old way of doing things and new way of doing things, and allowed guys like me to be leaders. No, Micah Parsons, that's not how you become a leader. You become a leader by humbling yourself, learning how to be a professional, putting your hands in the dirt, and you play so hard and you lead by example first. And then you can be a vocal leader when people see your success. And not just success against sorry teams, but it's success in the big games where you take over games. Then you can earn leadership. But Micah Parsons continues to talk about leadership. Stop talking about it and be about it. Somebody who talks about leadership all the time, they don't understand leadership. Stop talking about it and be about it. You don't have to say it. People will say it for you. And Darren Woodson is a prime example of this.
And dudes that every day taught me how to be a pro.
Right.
And I want to recognize them. When I get up on that stage and I put that jacket on, dude, they're going to be there, and I'm going to recognize each and every last one of them.
Right. And you finish your career as a team all-time leading tackler. Mm-hmm. And the game has changed. I mean, people understand that you were a safety, but you played nickel corner. You covered the likes of Jerry Rice.
I could play today.
Exactly.
I can play today.
You can play today.
My game transitions.
Right.
Hands down.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because I've talked to people and they say Darren Woodson was ahead of his time a little bit with it. I mean, how much do you think that you would actually fit in today's world?
It would have been easy, because that's exactly what I did my entire career. I probably played safety the least.
Right.
I played 2 Super Bowls as the nickel corner, basically, and or linebacker. I did a little bit of everything, but I enjoyed it because I learned how to do a lot. I have the versatility when I was in college. Lovie Smith, who was my position coach, taught me how to cover, how to blitz, how to play zone. And then when I got into the league with Dave Campo really sharpened me up, and then Zimmer put the cherry on top. But it was just the fact that I just knew that I could do a lot of things and run down on special teams. And look, I can tell you this. I think I have more surgeries. I had 11 surgeries, and most of them were probably from special teams.
Right, running down special
teams. running through that brick or that wall, right?
Yeah. Just transitioning from that era.
So Darren Woodson is saying some absolutely fascinating things. Darren Woodson is not the first person I heard say this about Darren Woodson. I heard Michael Irvin say, and this was 7 years ago, Michael Irvin gave this interview because they were talking about Darren Woodson. Darren Woodson should have been in the Hall of Fame. Michael Irvin said that Darren Woodson was a freak athlete before anybody really just was talking freak athlete. He said Darren Woodson was one of those guys that he's seen that Darren Woodson could just flat out do it all. Darren Woodson could do it all. This dude, safety, nickel, cornerback, and could hit. Cover Jerry Rice. Man, anybody young, if you know what this dude is saying, you're going to hold Jerry Rice as a safety. Okay, good luck. Not Darren Woodson. Jerry Rice knew if he caught that ball, he better brace himself because Darren Woodson was going to knock his brains out. That's just what Darren Woodson was. Darren Woodson was going to literally knock his brains out. Darren Woodson, just listen to what he's saying. The learning. Notice, you don't hear players talk a lot like this today. He's talking about learning, who taught him, what he learned, and then how he applied it. I'm telling you, people do not understand what a leader is. A leader is willing to learn. A leader humbles themselves. A leader learns. He learns, he applies. And he doesn't have to proclaim himself to be a leader. People will do it. They'll do it. He'll never have to say it. They'll do it for him. They'll do it for him. Let me read some of your comments, then we're going to go back. I'm going to go back about, let me see if I can go back about 20. Dro knows. Let me pick up what Dro knows, and I'm gonna go down from here. Dro said Michael would be on hush mouth if we had Kid Norton Jr. in the locker room. That's exactly what he needs, Dro. That's exactly what Michael Parsons needs. Even when you think about the greats, I'm telling y'all, listen to them. They'll all tell you the same story almost. There was someone who taught them how to be a professional. There was someone who they looked up to. There was someone who they learned from. They respected the generation that came before them. I'm going to tell you about this generation today. They'll tell you in a minute, we're done with the 90s. That's your problem. That's exactly your problem. This generation doesn't want to learn anymore. This generation wants to come right into whatever they come into with the glitz and the glam. They don't want to work for it. They want to get it because someone owes it to them because they're so talented. Let me tell you something. Emmitt Smith is the epitome of talent is extra. Talent is extra. Emmitt was better than most running backs of his time because of his mind, his heart. He wasn't the fastest. He wasn't the biggest. He wasn't the strongest. But when you watch that joker run, man, it was grace in motion. Emmitt Smith rarely took a square-on hit. I bet you Emmitt was deceptively fast. You look at his 40 time, not a fast guy. But when he's running the ball, he can't outrun me, and he would outrun you. I'm telling us, man, this young generation, I try to teach my sons the same stuff. Stop joining in with this generation. This generation ain't got it all up here. You need to look at people who've done it. Research people in the past who've done what you're trying to do. They've done it. They've been successful at it. And these Cowboys, I've said this before early in the season. I wish guys like Darren Woodson would hang around this locker room. I wish they would come into the facility. I wish they would be down on the practice field. I wish they would go down there and just talk some noise to some of these guys. They need it. The problem with this team, the mentality is that because they have a little bit of talent, some have a lot of talent, and then the owner, he touts that talent, and no one wants to say, hey, man, yeah, you know what? You ain't all that, though. You need to work on this, and this. Nobody wants to do that no more. But these guys, they held each other accountable. Chris Gunn said they pursued very fast. We were a fast defense. Man, them Niners Cowboys, them dudes was crazy with it. Kanan said Dak needs someone to help him see the field and stop throwing to the other team. No, what Dak needs is for somebody to finally say, hey, man, do you? Okay, we paid CeeDee Lamb. He's the second highest paid wide receiver. Dak, you don't have to throw it to CeeDee Lamb. You do know it's okay not to throw it to him, right? You throw it to him when he's open. Dak Prescott, you got 231 million reasons now to tell anybody you want to. You don't get a pass from me unless you're open. If you're not going to fight through coverage, if you're not going to be where you're supposed to be, you won't get one pass in this offense again. Dak Prescott is really, Woody is going to set this straight. Woody's going to say some things that's powerful about this. Michael will be gone before Dak takes his last snap. Man, you know what? I thought about that today. You know, Michael is and Jerry, I don't know what to make of it, Cowboys hater herder, but it's a weird relationship to me. But I was thinking today, I was like, man, I wouldn't be surprised if Michael don't last here long. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, and I hope this change. I don't think Michael Parsons, and I know this is not going to be popular with the Michael Parsons fans, but I'm just saying, hear me out. I just don't think he fits in with this culture right now. I don't think he fits in. I don't hear anybody else talking but Michael Parsons. I don't hear anybody else talking. I think other people are actually trying to focus on the game. Michael Parsons is out here trying to be a part-time podcaster, part-time media guy, part-time football player. I'm telling you, man, there's a lot of people out there. We may not realize it, but I'm telling you, Warren Sapp is proving it. There's a lot of people out there that are not impressed with Michael Parsons. Now, I am impressed with Michael Parsons. I just think he's too immature. I think he's too immature, and I can deal with immaturity. But what I can't deal with is that he seems to think he's the man. As if he's got I got it. You know, I don't need any teaching. I got this. Just let me do what I want to do. I couldn't have a player like him on my defense. I would not have a player like him on my defense unless I had some veteran players that had dog in them that would keep that joker in line. Like someone mentioned, Ken Norton Jr. I got Ken Norton Jr. on my team. Hey, man, I'd pull him in the office. Keep that joker in check. Keep him in check. Don't be afraid to tell him to shut his mouth sometimes. Keep him in check. Y'all saw what D-Law did. D-Law told him to shut the F up. He does a lot of talking. And I'm telling you, I would not be surprised. DeMarcus Lawrence probably doesn't want to play with Michael Parsons anymore. He does a lot, and he does a lot of talking. Too much talking and not enough doing. Purple Soul said when Deion Sanders talks about a lot of NFL guys not being coachable, Michael is that guy, and he's too young in the game to already be so arrogant. Yep. I agree with you 100%, Purple Soul. I think he is one of those guys. I think he's exactly one of those guys. Carl Brown, the problem is he's not going to grow until someone helps him to grow. And Carl, ask yourself this. So how are we going to let him grow? He's going to grow regardless. How do we let him grow, Carl? I said this at the beginning of the season. The Cowboys need to get someone in here sooner than later to help this young man mature. Because right now we don't have nobody that can help him mature. They need someone other than D-Law to tell him to shut your mouth. Shut your mouth, bro. You talk too much. But when you have an owner, he's running around calling the owner his uncle, Carl. He's running around advocating for the owner. Tell me another player you've ever heard in NFL history that advocates for an owner the way Michael Parsons does. And not just any owner. A good owner who's a terrible GM, who has made bad decision after bad decision after bad decision. And Michael Parsons has advocated for a man who he said, I don't have to be the highest paid player. Just do whatever I got to do to be a Cowboy for life. And he still hadn't signed you to a contract? And now Michael Parsons is already talking about he's going to hold out. Yep, he's already said it. I'll be at training camp, but I'll be a hold in. I will not be participating in all the activities. I'll be watching and learning the defense until my contract gets done. Okay? That's why Michael is so immature. I've never heard nobody do that. This is beyond growth. Somebody needs to get a hold of him and say, stop this stuff, man. You're doing absolute dumb stuff. Man, I don't give a doggone how old my sons are. If my sons were doing what Michael Parsons is doing, ask him about me. Ask him about me. I don't care if they were living across the country. FaceTime, call on the phone, I'm going to show up at your doorstep. You're going to stop doing this dumb stuff. Ask him what I tell him all the time. Be a man. Men don't do this dumb stuff. Be a man. Somebody needs to step to this guy. I mean, I'm telling you, he's detrimental to the team. He's great for the team, but he's detrimental at the same time. The Cottage Show said, if not the greatest defense ever assembled, they were crazy with it. They were crazy. Don't know be the best. He said, did the defense show up against Green Bay? Nope. Did the defense show up when they had 10 penalties for 95 yards and gave up 91 rush yards in the first San Francisco game? Nope. Kanan says, I hope he leaves Dak running his career into the ground. No, Michael, if you're talking about Michael Parsons, Mike is running his own career into the ground. And watch what Darren Woodson is going to say. Darren Woodson is going to drop 2 golden nuggets in here, and he's going to prove you, Kanan, Darren Woodson, I believe him over you. He's about to destroy the comment you just made. He's going to destroy your comment and any other negative comment about Dak Prescott. Darren Woodson is going to destroy every last one of y'all comments. Marcus Warner, yep. Darren's going to talk about it. Jimmy built one of the greatest teams in NFL history. I agree with you. The trio got the press, but the defense was what really dominated other teams. Yes, sir, Kelvin Bryant, I agree with you. Jimmy Johnson said he would have not given Dak another contract. Yeah, he would have. Stop listening to Jimmy Johnson. He wouldn't have had no choice. He was the same person that also told Troy Aikman that you can't play for me throwing interceptions. Dave Onstad told that story. Guess what happened to Troy Aikman? Troy Aikman still played for Jimmy Johnson. Troy Aikman was a turnover machine. They went and got him a run game. No, it's not true. Purple Soul. Amari used to tell Michael to chill all the time when they would be on live because he would just be a jerk to the fans unprovoked. He needs someone to still do that to him. He does. Chris Guns. Darren Smith was also a fast linebacker. Forgot to mention him from the U. Man, that defense was crazy. Crazy. Cowboy Hater Herder said Dak shouldn't have signed that contract and had us in the hole we hit before Romo. Are you old enough to remember that? Yes, sir. Marlon Brando had a magic. Kind of show Parsons is still learning, but he needs to be tempered. Yes, sir. He needs someone to help him with what's going on with him. He does. He just needs. He doesn't want veteran leadership, but he needs it. He actually needs it. Jimmy said he would have waited until after the season to pay Dak, but he said he would unequivocally keep him. Don't know exactly. And not to mention, this is why Jimmy was the coach. I mean, he was the coach and not the GM. Jerry would have still signed Dak Prescott just like Jerry kept Troy Aikman as the quarterback. Oh, I didn't even see these. Let me look at these. 2 super chats. My man Jay Recruiter says, Mike is not going to change. Jerry empowered him. I don't think he's liked by his teammates. Jay Recruiter? I agree. I absolutely agree. I'm just being honest with you. I'm built different. I would have absolute problems with a dude like Michael Parsons. I'd have absolute problems. I would be that dude in the locker room. I promise you I'd be that dude. I wouldn't care who this dude. I mean, hey, man, you need to shut up. I'd straight up tell him, bro, you need to shut up. I'd come to him as a man first, and I'd talk to him sensibly. But if he kept that dumb stuff up, oh, man, I'd tell him right in front of everybody, where you show out is where you get wore out. I would work, man, hey, man, you need to shut up, bro. We're tired of you talking. Don't talk about it, be about it. Show us what you are. We don't want you to keep talking about it. You need to hold yourself accountable before you try to hold us accountable. I'm telling you, I would be all on this dude. Because I'm telling you, man, he's a menace. He's a menace to his team. Even when you look at the Cincinnati Bengals game, he leaving the sideline early. Come on, Michael. You got to stop this. Somebody got to help this young man mature. Or he's going to continue to be detrimental to himself and the team. Byron Joe David, appreciate the super chat. He says, you say detrimental, I say liability. Man, I'm telling you, man. People don't understand. Mentality is the mind. And you don't need the wrong kind of energy around you. There is nothing worse than a person who think they are the absolute best. Let me tell you about guys who are the best. They don't tell you. They show you. And when they show you they're the best, you respect them. You listen to them. Why? Because you're watching them dominate on such a level that you go, hey, man, this dude know what he's doing. This dude know what he's talking about. Look at his execution. He's not telling us to do something that he's not doing. When Michael Jordan would be on his teammates, you want to know why they respected it even if they didn't like him? Man, this dude is great. We can't argue with greatness. He's great. And the reason why he's on us so hard is that he wants us to be great as he is. You respect guys like that. You respect guys like that. It's just bottom line. You respect them. Let me let you hear some more Darren Woodson. Darren Woodson is going to say some things similar to what I'm saying right now. Check him out.
Era to this current era, as a 3-time Super Bowl champion, you're getting ready to come up on your 30th anniversary of since that last title in 1995.
Lord, 30 years.
30 years. Cowboys have not sniffed the Super Bowl.
I would have never have thought, since we won that last one. If you would have said it's going to take you another 30 years, I'd have said that you're out of your damn mind, right? Just because of the organization. Look, we're still talking about the number one franchise in sports, right? Regardless, they haven't been there in 30 years, and we're still talking about the number one franchise in sports. Right. And that this organization needs to get back there. But it doesn't start like it's not like it starts from going out and drafting guys or whatnot. It starts from up top. Right. You got to make the right decisions up top, and then it bleeds down into the players, and then the players firmly believing in the culture and what the task is at hand.
Have I not said this before? Teams start from the top. For some reason, we got this new generation of Cowboys fan. They think they think it starts with the quarterback. I said it before. Darren Woodson is saying it. It does not start with the quarterback. It starts at the top. Starts with the owner, the GM, personnel, coach, quarterback, players. He's saying something. It's fundamentally broke at the top. And I'm hoping that everything that Jerry and Stephen Jones, see, now we got him, now we got him on the clock. Jerry said he's been mismanaging the salary cap. For all you folk who've been talking about Dak Prescott's contract, Dak Prescott contract ain't never been the problem. The problem with Dak Prescott's contract is the timing that we've decided to sign Dak Prescott. We should have never signed him to the 2 franchise tags. We could have had Dak Prescott on a $30 million a year contract when they first signed Jimmy Garoppolo. We could have had Dak Prescott on a contract similar to Jimmy Garoppolo and could have been putting players all up and around Dak Prescott. What did we do? 2 franchise tags in a row. Dumb. Then we wait till Dak Prescott breaks his leg, comes back from the broken ankle, and then we sign him to a massive contract. And then and puts us on a no trade clause contract. You got exactly what you deserve. Dak Prescott said, no more playing. Y'all doing dumb stuff. I played on 2 franchise tags, almost risked my whole career. So I'll never do it again for y'all. Even this last time with Dak Prescott, we could have signed Dak Prescott in the 2023 season when he had this fabulous career, could have signed him for somewhere $10 to $15 million less, I guarantee you. Dak Prescott's contract would have been chump change if we'd have signed him in 2023 compared to what these quarterbacks got in 2024. We signed CeeDee Lamb way too late. Signed him for an additional, what, $6, $7, $8, $9 million? Waited until all the leaves failed? It's not these players' fault with these contracts. It's when the Joneses have decided to give these contracts and how they decide to do them. It's their fault. That's why Micah Parsons, I've been saying it, Micah, stop talking about you'll take less money. Stop putting that stuff out. When I hear someone doing what Micah Parsons is doing this for the benefit of the effect of what people think about him because he wants charge of the team. But the problem is no one on that team is going to give him charge of the team. I'm like Jay Recruiter. I don't think people really respect him on the team. I really don't. He does things for effect. Shut your mouth, man. You want to give a discount? Give a discount. Shut up. It'll come out in the wash eventually. Shut up. Do all your negotiating behind closed doors. Stop telling Jerry Jones you'll take a discount if he'll get Myles Garrett. You've already told Jerry Jones you'll take a discount. I'm telling you, I'm waiting. I'm waiting on Jerry Jones to come with Micah Parsons, because if I was Jerry Jones, tell you what, Micah Parsons, you want to be a Cowboy for life, we're going to put you on a $15 million a year deal. Because you said you've been blessed so immensely, you can't even complain. So we're going to put you on a $15 million a year deal. Is that cool with you? We're going to pay Oso Digizua more than you. Is that cool with you? Too much talking. Too much talking. Hold Jerry accountable. It's his job. It's his job to be the GM. If that's what he wants to do, then be it. It's not players. Players don't need to be worried about managing the team's salary cap. That's not what they get paid for. That is not what they get paid for. I don't understand this mentality of people talking about pay cuts and all this. Man, that's that person's prerogative. And if they don't want to, they don't have to take it. Doggone it, let the ownership then figure out how to do the deals. It's their job to keep who they want and keep who they need. And if you have to make some decisions on people, you have to make some decisions on people. Then develop your players better. Develop the players better. So if you got someone in a contract they can't play, if they don't want to stay, okay, we'll get somebody else. If they're not worth keeping, then don't keep them. But Micah Parsons, man, he's trying to play GM and everything else. It's crazy. Kyle Show, he says, do you think when the coaching staff get with the team, Eberflus get with him? He said he's already talked to him. And I'm saying, man, if Eberflus don't get on his game immediately when it comes to Micah Parsons, it's going to be problems. It's just going to be problems. I'm sorry, I'd step through the door. Hey, man, I just need you to do whatever we ask you to do. Nothing more, nothing less. I just need you to do whatever we need you to do. We're not adjusting for you. We need you to adjust to the system we're going to put in place. There is no way we should be waiting until week 12 for a defense to catch on again. No, we don't need to do that again. We need, and Matt Eberflus's defense should be even more simple. Brandon Bryce said maybe White Cotton will be the coach to help him mature. I hope so. I hope so. Micah is jealous of Dak for sure. I agree, 100%. He wants to be the leader on the team, but he can't be. He can't be the leader. Talks too much. Can't not be the leader. Kanan, don't you worry. You must be new here. I'm going to put everything you're saying to shame, just like Darren Woodson is. Robert Dudley, Thomas Everett, that boy was a beast. He was a trade from the Steelers in 92. That boy was a beast. An absolute beast. All right, let me skip down some more, then I'm going to get back to Darren Woodson here. Let me read a couple more comments. Get back to Darren Woodson. Man, stop with the Quincy Carter talk. That would get you stoned in another era. Come on, stop it. Stop it. You said Dak didn't give Kanan a high five walking out of the tunnel, and now he stop it. All right, let me get back to Darren Woodson. I'll come back to some of y'all comments. Boy, y'all killing me these comments. All right.
That doesn't change from business. I'm a business owner. It doesn't change from football to business. If you understand what the task is and what your role is within the organization, and then you have something to build on. And I think that's what we built on early on when I came in. You kind of knew who the guy was. It was Jimmy,
right.
Hands down. So it was Jimmy, and Jimmy told everyone else. And it started with Troy, and he used to always say, it rolls downhill, right? Because could you imagine when practice was going bad, Jimmy would rail at Troy, and guess who Troy would rail at? The rest of us, right?
See how he just explained that? Perfect. Top down. Top down. Jerry and Jimmy worked great together in the beginning. Jerry was wheeling and dealing. Jimmy told him what he needed. Jerry wheeled and dealed, got the deals done. Jerry Jones, whether people love it, like it, or hate it, Jerry Jones deserves a lot of credit for the Herschel Walker trade. Jerry Jones deserves a lot of credit for that. Not sure how it all came to be, but Jerry deserves a lot of credit for it, just like Jimmy does. They both deserve equal credit for that, because if Jerry wasn't receptive to it, and if Jerry doesn't get on the wheel and the deal side, it ain't happening. That changed life. And then Jimmy, notice what he said. Jimmy got on Troy. Now, remember what I told y'all. Troy didn't like Jimmy at first. But then Troy became like Jimmy. And that's what Darren is talking about. Jimmy got on Troy. Troy got on the whole team. I'm hoping we see some of that from Dak Prescott. And Schottenheimer sounds like he's saying he's going to get on Dak's son. I hope he does. Dak don't mind being coached. Dak does not mind being coached. Sometimes there needs to be some contention. Sometimes. It does. I hope Dak in his last 4 years here becomes a lot more vocal, because he needs to. Everybody looks at Dak as the leader on this team. He needs to really step into that role, especially with Brian Schottenheimer. He does.
Right? So but you understood what the mentality was, and I'm not sure if they're there right now. That's the problem.
Right.
And I'm not, look,
that mentality.
I'm not in that locker room.
But you're in that building.
No, I'm in the building. My business is in the building. I can see it, but I'm not in that. And I was just.
Wait a minute. Kanan, Marlon Brando, Dak Delusional, y'all people like that. Darren Woodson is about to put y'all on notice. Now, y'all notice how Darren Woodson is talking about the mentality. He's talking about he don't think they're there mentally. The team doesn't have the right mentality. Woo, boy, he's about to say something right here. Stop the press. Listen to this.
Throw it out there, man, because I see a lot of the guys out, I see Dak and I see, some of the players, and I'm not in that locker room, man.
Right.
I kind of know what it takes.
Right.
And it takes a commitment that you cannot believe. It takes the same commitment that the dude that's playing in this for the third straight year, like his commitment, Mahomes' commitment to that organization and to those players, it takes that type of commitment. And when they see him play at the highest level and do the right things in the offseason and prepare and all, that's what it takes. And I'm not sure, what the Cowboys or how they look at it. I know this. I can look out the window. My office oversees the field. I see 4 out there all the damn time.
Say it again, Darren Woodson. Say it again, Darren Woodson. He's talking about a mentality, a commitment to a team. And it's strange to me that there's one person talking about being the leader of a team. Wasn't there last offseason? Wasn't there last training camp? All these guys, you never see them in the offseason, never see them in the training camp. Darren Woodson, watch what he says. Darren Woodson said, I know who I do see. His office overlooks the field. I tell you who I do see. Who do you see? 4, Dak Prescott. He's saying something. I know there's one person on that team that's committed. The one person I know on that team that is committed is Dak Prescott. Let's replay that again and then listen to what the rest he says about Dak Prescott and some of these other players. And I think it's going to tell us even more of a problem with this team. Listen what he says.
That's what it takes. And I'm not sure, what the Cowboys or how they look at it. I know this. I can look out the window. My office oversees the field. I see 4 out there all the damn time.
Right.
All the time.
Right.
Season ends, 2 weeks later, 4 is out there throwing balls.
Right.
Like, oh, I know he's got it. Does everybody else have it?
Right.
Say it again, Darren Woodson. Say it again, Darren Woodson. For all them people in the back. Dak is the least of this team's problems. Dak Prescott is the least of this team's problems, and he is the best opportunity they have at winning. They need to put a defense on the other side of this man once and for all. They need to put a line in front of this man and a running game. I don't want a 2-year running game again for the Cowboys. The Cowboys need to orchestrate. The next running back they get, they need to orchestrate a flat-out 4-year plan for running the ball. I think this is some of what Emmett is alluding to. Whatever running back you get, let's not let him just be a flash in the pan. We need a bona fide, we need to commit and say, we're going to be a play action team. We're going to run the ball and we're going to be a play action team. And we're going to get quality over quantity on these throws. Dak Prescott, 25, 30 throws max. We're running the ball 35 times a game. Book it. And we want results. Defense, stop playing. No more playing around. Stop the mentality. If there's a turnover on the offense, y'all get all down in your disposition. Shut your mouth and go out there and stop them. No, don't complain. Go out there and stop them. Anybody remember the Cincinnati Bengal game? Okay, they blamed Amani for what he did on the punt. Do we not understand our defense got a chance to go back out on the field and we commit to letting Jamar Chase burn our socks off? Stop moping around when there's a mistake. Dak Prescott has been preaching this for years, and he's the only one that believes it. Dak says he does not dwell on mistakes. He does not dwell on his own mistakes and with these people like Micah Parsons, because he's the main one who gets down in his disposition. Well, he makes mistakes too. Dak don't dwell on those either. Dak said it, and it's perfect. He said it perfectly. no team should dwell on its mistakes. You keep playing the game because you never know. You just keep playing the game and you may find yourself at the end with an opportunity to win it. Yeah, that's the right mentality. That's the right mentality. People think that Troy didn't turn the ball over. Yes, he did. Yes, Troy Aikman turned the ball over. But their defense was so good, we never talked about it a lot. Their defense was good enough that when Troy, I'm talking about the 92 through 95 stretch. If Troy made a turnover, no one blinked because the defense was good enough. Hey, don't worry about it. We got it. If it's not on our side of the field, we'll get them on a 3 and out. Don't worry about it. We'll get the ball back. I remember 94 when Troy Aikman threw 3 interceptions. I remember it. But your team should not get down over turnovers. No, your team should be like, no problem, man. Let's go out here and stop them. Let's get the ball back. Let's get the ball back. No complaining. Darren Woodson is telling us something. He knows that there is one player that gets it. Dak Prescott. He's committed. But you notice what he's saying also? He don't see the other guys doing this. He doesn't see the other starters doing this. Why not? Why is he not seeing the other players? They're not committed the way Dak Prescott is. And if Dak Prescott's the only one committed, then how did you get the chemistry on the team? How do you get the chemistry? Watch this. He's not only going to talk about that. Watch what he says about this. He's going to talk about money. Watch this.
And that's the thing. You can't. There's an off-season program. You know what the off-season program is? Mm-hmm. It's called voluntary mandatory. You show your ass up. If you want to win, you show up. And I don't know if everyone's showing up.
Did Michael Parsons show up? The main one always running his mouth. Did he show up? He wants to be the leader on the defense. Did he show up? Because I can tell you he didn't show up. He did not show up, and he was under contract, and he didn't show up. And he's already threatening he's going to show up this time, but he's not going to do anything. Anybody knows what Dak Prescott did last year? Dak Prescott has never done what these players have done. Dak Prescott contract was signed the morning of the first game, and Dak Prescott was still out there practicing. I thought he was crazy. I thought Dak Prescott was crazy. Dak Prescott almost brought Jerry Jones to tears. Because Dak Prescott, he knew they were in contract negotiations, and Dak Prescott was still out there practicing. Jordan Love didn't do it. And his contract exceeded Dak Prescott's before Dak Prescott got his contract. Jordan Love had one good year and held out. What? Dak Prescott, contract negotiations, multiple years. The one thing we can say about Dak, always been committed, never holds out. Still plays the game, never holds out. Dak Prescott is committed. And I think one of the problems with this team, and anybody remembers, I said this, the one player on this team whose mentality does not match Jerry Jones, because Darren Woodson is having a discussion about top down. A lot of these players, they have the mentality of the owner. Did I not say it earlier this year? There's one player on this team that doesn't have the mentality of the owner. It's Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott doesn't have the mentality of Jerry Jones. He just doesn't. He's built different. Dak Prescott on that 90s team, he'd have won too. Dak Prescott on that 90s team, he would have won too. Dak Prescott on the 49ers, what Brock Purdy has enjoyed over the last few years, Dak would have won a Super Bowl with that team. Probably two. This Philadelphia Eagle team, if Dak Prescott had that roster, Dak Prescott would be winning too. He would be winning, and he would beat Patrick Mahomes in one of those Super Bowls. We have a bad mentality, and Darren Woodson is spelling it out. How bad is it when Darren Woodson is saying The only player he sees showing up and committed is Dak Prescott. How bad is that? How bad is that?
Well, you talk about that trickle-down effect with Dak Prescott, obviously being one guy that's proponent of it, but how much more would you need from that locker room then to have the trickle-down?
You got to have – everybody has to buy into it. It's not like you have to be the best team. Mm-hmm. You don't have to be the best team, but if you can buy into whatever it is, whatever the goal is, and, again, it's leadership from the top, it's the coaching staff, but then it's the players firmly believing that they have a goal. And that goal is to win a championship. And there's nothing else that's going to get in the way of it. Family's not going to get in the way with it. Beef inside the locker room. He's making more money than I'm making.
Say it again, Darren Woodson. Say it again. Say it again. I'm the only one talking about this stuff. This dude, Micah Parsons, is detrimental. He's a great player, but he's detrimental. He says a lot of things he should not be talking about. And the one thing I keep saying, stop talking about the money. Stop talking about the money. Okay, you've already told us. Stop parading it around now. It seems like to me now he's parading it around because it's like he knows he's not going to get paid less money. Oh, I'll take less money, will you? Stop telling us what you'll take. Shut up. Let your agent do this. Shut your mouth, bro. Why do you keep trying to say this against the quarterback being the highest paid player in the league? Shut your mouth. I'm telling you, if I was Micah Parsons to me, hey, man, get your mama to be your agent. Get your mama to be your agent because I can't be your agent. I can't be the agent of a player who won't let me do my job. If Micah Parsons won't let his agent do his job, are we not listening to what I'm saying? You won't even let your agent do his job? I'd quit. I wouldn't need my no, bro. You want to negotiate your own contract? No. Go ahead and do it. You got it. Let your mama do it. I bet you Micah Parsons' own mama would be telling him, hey, Mike, you need to stop this. What you're saying don't make sense. Because actually what you're saying, it's almost like you're saying this because you're going against someone on your own team. Stop this. Stop it. Let your agent deal with this stuff. How about you just go out there on the field and play? This is what Darren Woodson is talking about. How about you be committed to winning? How can you be committed to winning when you're committed to a podcast? Somebody explain it to me. You're committed to winning, but really you're committed to this podcast. You're more committed to the Bleacher Report than you are to the Dallas Cowboys because you'll actually betray players on your own team to further your own career. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Woody is saying something. He's watching a lack of commitment by everyone on this team except for 4. Did we not hear what he said? I got a office in the building. I can see everything that's going on down there on the field, and what I see consistently is 4. I'm telling us, Woody is speaking Woody dropping some dimes up in here. Chris 214, appreciate that $2 super chat. He said, hello, I'm new to the chat. Angie sent me here. Appreciate you. Hope you enjoy the content. Appreciate you. Darren Woodson, man, Darren Woodson is breaking this thing down. And the problem I have, Micah Parsons needs someone talking like this. Let me let you hear him again. He's going to go deeper into this thing. Listen what he says.
A championship, and there's nothing else that's going to get in the way of it. Family's not going to get in.
I wonder why he said family. I wonder why he said family, because could it be that we've heard people's family that when Dak Prescott makes a mistake, they're speaking out. But when their kids are making mistakes on the team, they're silent. Strange, isn't it? It's strange the stuff that Darren Woodson is saying, because Darren Woodson is saying that this stuff is ludicrous that goes on with this team.
Away with it, beef inside the locker room. He's making more.
Why is he saying beef inside the locker room? Y'all don't think that this man is listening to things that are going on? Darren is listening to things that's going on. This man is speaking nothing but facts. And that's why he brings up this thing even about money. Stop worrying about other men's pockets. I've been saying this.
More money than I'm making. It is do your job.
How about the owner? Does he
It's
get
the
in the way?
same.
Do your job. When will somebody tell Michael Parsons, do your job? Well, you know what they say, those who make the most, shut up. Do your job, Michael Parsons. That's all we need you to do. You're not speaking for this team. Do your job. We're watching Dak Prescott do his job. You do your job. Because if you did your job better, this team would be better. If you would stop disappearing in big games, Michael Parsons, if you would stop disappearing in the playoffs, Michael Parsons, let's look at your stats in the playoffs. Let's look at your stats against the good teams. Let's look at your stats when these teams have, I'm not even talking about great, when they just have good offensive tackles. Michael Parsons, what do you look like? And then you're putting yourself on the Mount Rushmore of pass rushers in the NFL. This is crazy to me. It's crazy to me. Sounds like a person who says my poo-poo don't stink. I've already made it. So everybody adjust to me. I don't need no improvement. I don't need no learning. I don't need no teaching. All I need to know is what's the scheme and what are you going to adjust for me to do what I want to do. I'm telling you. They better than me. Because I tell you up front, I'd be mad at Eberflus. I'd be like, hey, man, we got an opportunity right here. The student Michael Parsons, I just don't know if he's going to fit into what we're doing. If we're going to rush 4 down linemen, how does an undersized defensive end fit into a 4-man front that is designed to rush the passer, stop the run, and drop 7 in coverage? Somebody's going to tell me how that works. I just don't know how that works. They got some decisions to make. And Jerry loves Michael Parsons, it seems. So Matt Eberflus, he'll probably have to bow down. I hope they stop this nonsense. I hope they stop this nonsense. I hope Matt Eberflus' staff comes in and says, we're not bowing down to Michael Parsons. You're either going to get with this program, bro, or something else is going to have to happen. Y'all just don't understand what I'm telling you. This guy said in week 12, we finally got Mike Zimmer's defense. It's not that complicated. Mike Zimmer does not run one of the most complicated defenses in the league. He just doesn't do it. It took them to week 12? Or did it take him to week 12? Which one is it? Because if he's supposed to be the leader on your defense, and if he's not getting it, or if he don't like it, he's not going along with it, he don't buy into it, this is what Darren is talking about. When there is a lack of commitment, well, that means everybody's not all in. When there's a lack of commitment, even Mike McCarthy said this about Michael Parsons. Whatever you're focusing on outside of football, that's less time you're focusing on football. He ain't lying. He ain't lying. It's absolutely crazy. Woody is hitting on so many fronts. Why do you think he's bringing this stuff up? Because he's listening to this nonsense, and it's crazy to him. This was the same argument that Stephen Jones was trying to make about Deion. Man, you can't bring in Deion Sanders. He going to be making more money than everybody. Jerry said you don't get many players like Deion Sanders. Jerry took it to the team, and the team said, yes, we want Deion Sanders. Helped them get the 95 Super Bowl. Woody is dropping dimes here.
Does he get in the way?
I think. Look, it all starts from the top.
Right.
I'm a business owner, right?
Right.
Things ain't going well. Guess what? It starts with me.
Right.
And I don't think that Jerry's deflecting from that. Jerry understands that. I mean, he's got the opportunity, man. That's the life about Jerry right now.
Right.
The number one franchise in the world.
Right.
Haven't won a championship in 30 years.
Right.
The number one, you ain't hearing me.
I hear you.
The number one franchise in the world.
So that's what I'm saying. Is it more focused on being the number one franchise than football? Is it more focused on being the richest franchise in sports than football?
That man
you serve two masters.
Look, that man is the most competitive man I've ever met in my life.
Okay.
He just ain't got it right. And he deserves the criticism. He does. As a GM,
right.
He deserves the criticism for not getting there. But you can't tell me that he doesn't understand it, and he's not running from it. He's trying to get back there. I mean, I hear this all the time. Well, he's not trying. And this, no, damn that, dude. He's trying. He just ain't figured out the formula.
Right.
Do you think you talked about being a business owner and, hey, it starts with me, right? And obviously we talked about the Forbes list. We talked about how that is successful for the Cowboys. Do you think it is harder, though, to change your ways and start with you as a business owner when, hey, we have this going?
Okay, so I'm going to put this in a video later on tonight, and I'll put this entire thing in there. But I want you to hear something else. Let me see. Where is it? Darren Woodson also said something else about, let me see. Let's see if we can find it right here.
You guys had a chance to get 3 straight Super Bowl titles.
Okay, now I mentioned this the other day. Y'all might not remember, but I mentioned this the other day. I said, I bet you these Cowboys get together and they think about the fact that they could have three-peated. Because I'm telling you, I just believe that 90s Cowboys team, I think they could have at least won 4. I think they could have at least won 4, maybe even 5. Listen to what Darren Woodson says about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know?
Head coach got let go, though.
The head, right.
The head coach.
I know you won 3 in 4 years, but you could have won 3 straight. You could have done something unprecedented.
Yeah, okay.
And they got taken away from you.
Yeah, it got taken away from us. I was on the show earlier, and I was listening to Troy, and Troy was like, I don't even think about it. And I'm like, yeah. I still think about it.
Right.
Yes,
sir. I still think about the
sir.
opportunity because I was caught in the moment. I was in the moment. We were all in the moment of three-peating. Like we just won 2 back-to-back.
Youngest team in the league, all of that.
We knew that we were going to be San Fran again because we had their number, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was like we just got to stay the course.
Right.
And I just look, man. At least I felt like we lost. We had like 4. We had at least 4 in us.
Right.
And then things probably would have changed, but. I admire greatness, man. Right. I do. I watch Mahomes and what they're doing, and people are taking shots at them about the referees and all that, and to beat them.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Beat them. You got a problem with it? Beat them.
Right.
But until then, man, I remember watching the Bulls back when I was a kid and watching Jordan, and I'm not comparing Jordan to Mahomes and all that, but I watch a team play at the highest level with the Bulls, and now I'm witnessing a team that has a chance to three-peat, and I admire it, man.
Darren Woodson interview, man, I'm telling you, it's a great interview. Y'all go check out DLLS if you haven't already. It's a great interview. But Darren Woodson, man, he dropped absolute bombs in this doggone interview, man. I absolutely love everything he said. And Darren Woodson, man, Darren Woodson is saying just some of the same things we've been saying. The mentality of this team is not right. And we got players on this team. I'm telling y'all, y'all might not listen. You might not be listening to what I'm saying. Micah Parsons' mentality to me is unprecedented. I've never seen a player be so pro-owner. That goes against the players. You couldn't be a leader on my team. You're doing things that could hurt other players down the line. You do you, man, but stop all this stuff about I'm willing to take less. I don't want to create that precedent on this team. No team should have that precedent. No team should think like that. It's the ownership's job to manage the salary cap. I don't care what Tom Brady did. Tom Brady and the New England Patriots are an anomaly. I don't care what they did. No. That is your GM's job to come up with creative ways of paying the team, paying the players. I mean, it is what it is. But I'm telling this man, Darren Woodson dropped some absolute golden nuggets in this. And I'll be doing a video about this later on tonight. Let me go to this thing real quick about the MVP. I saw somebody put something up about the MVP. And if you're arguing this MVP thing, I got questions about you. I really do got questions. Because they did to Lamar Jackson exactly what they did to Dak Prescott with Lamar Jackson. I don't even understand how somebody could even argue this. I think I saw Kanan arguing this, but he's comparing Lamar Jackson this year. We're not talking about Lamar Jackson this year. Lamar Jackson this year, if there's any year that Lamar Jackson ever deserved the MVP, it was this year. But when you look at last year, let me get the criteria back right. It done flipped over. When you look at last year, 2023, Lamar Jackson did not beat Dak Prescott. All right, let me see if I can pull this up. Looks like something has changed. I don't know what it is. Let's see. All right, let's see if we can get this back up again. Okay, let's put Lamar Jackson. Okay, we got the 8th season. Dak Prescott. Wait, hold on. All right. See if we can get the numbers back right here. All right. I've already done this in a video. For y'all who have seen this, bear with me. I won't go through it the long way. I mean, it's just pretty simple. This information is readily available. I don't understand why people talk before they look at this stuff. But when you look at the numbers in bold, these are the numbers that person led in. Dak Prescott, in every major statistical category, beat Lamar Jackson except for running the ball. But watch this. Dak Prescott. Lamar Jackson had one less game, but if anybody remembers 2023, the Cowboys would be up so big in some of those games, Dak Prescott wouldn't even play the fourth quarters. I bet you Dak Prescott missed at least, 3 to 4 fourth quarters, if not more. They were beating teams that bad in 2023. And when you look at 2023, this is a regular season award. And when you look at it, Dak Prescott, completion percentage, 69.5, 67.2. Passing yards. Look at this, 4,516 yards. And even if you add Lamar Jackson's rushing yards, 821, and add that to 3,678, it still only comes out to 14,499, I think it is. 4,499. Dak Prescott, without even adding in the rushing, Dak Prescott still beat his total yards. Not only did he beat his total yards, he was more yards per game, 36 touchdowns. Lamar Jackson only had 24 touchdowns. And even if you add in his 5 rushing touchdowns, he had 29 touchdowns. Dak Prescott beat him in touchdowns total without even adding Dak Prescott's 2 touchdowns, which would have given him 38. There was no quarterback in the league that played better than Dak Prescott in 2023. It's a regular season award. I don't want to talk about the Green Bay game. It's a regular season award. It is. And at this time, Lamar Jackson and Dak Prescott had the same amount of playoff wins. And Lamar Jackson walked right out there and got knocked out in his playoff win too. He walked right out there and got knocked off and threw the game-losing interception in the end zone. They gave the MVP to Lamar Jackson, and he had less yards. I mean, he got beat in every statistical category pretty much. They did the same thing to Lamar Jackson. So this year, when you look at Lamar Jackson, look at Lamar Jackson. The thing with Lamar Jackson is even more lopsided. This is literal insanity. The bold is the categories that Lamar Jackson led Josh Allen in. Josh Allen didn't beat him in one category except for one more win and 8 more rushing touchdowns. Do we not understand that even if you add those 12 touchdowns, that's 40? Lamar Jackson had 41 touchdowns this season. Passing the ball, 41 touchdowns, and he had 4 rushing. That's 45-40. Josh Allen, I said it this year. The stat that improved for Josh Allen was he threw less interceptions, because these other numbers, a lot of those are down, but he threw less interceptions. Well, look at Lamar Jackson. He only threw 4 interceptions in the whole season? How did they justify this? Even head-to-head in the regular season, Lamar Jackson beat Josh Allen. It's a regular season award. Josh Allen got the same benefit that Lamar Jackson got. Lamar Jackson got Derrick Henry. Go check the stats. The Buffalo Bills went and got Josh Allen, a 3-headed monster at running back. So Josh Allen benefited from the running game just like Lamar Jackson did. How do you not? This man almost ran. He threw for 4,000, almost ran for another 1,000. And you don't give him the MVP. He earned it. How do those 50 riders? Shame on them. Shame on them. Had you not given Lamar Jackson the MVP last year when he didn't earn it, he did not earn the MVP last year. Dak Prescott beat him. Dak Prescott literally beat him and beat him bad. Beat him bad. And they gave Lamar Jackson the MVP. But because they hate Dak Prescott so much, they gave it to Lamar Jackson. There's no other explanation. It's a regular season award. And in the regular season, Dak Prescott was literally better than every quarterback in the league, including Lamar Jackson. And then they turned right around and stuck with the same precedent. Those writers ought to be ashamed of themselves. If they said we gave it to Josh Allen because Lamar Jackson had won it 2 years in a row, or Lamar Jackson could win it every year in a row, then doggone it, let it be honest and let the man win it every year in a row then. But they're dishonest because he didn't win it last year. They gave it to him. And just like this year, he won it, but they gave it to Josh Allen. I wouldn't even care about this award no more. I wouldn't. I would not even care about this award. This is why, for me, if I'm a player, man, I'm focused on winning. I don't care about these stupid awards. They're just distractions. Stay focused on winning. Those awards, they either come or they don't. I don't even care. What I want is championships. This is stupid. The NFL ought to be ashamed of themselves. And anybody who's even going along with this, man, whoever go along with this, you need to question yourself. I just showed the facts right there for anyone who says that's an opinion. It's not an opinion. It's a regular season award. If the criteria is not the stats, then what are they? Please let us know. So then we can be informed, and then we don't have to look at this and go, it's a sham. Because I'm telling you, it's a sham. It is absolutely a sham. I'm telling you, NFL ought to be ashamed of this stuff. It's crazy. It's crazy. Let's see if we can find something else here. Someone brought up the Warren Sapp thing. I want to see if we can find. I actually watched that today, and I was actually laughing. I was actually laughing when they were talking about the Warren Sapp. I was actually laughing when I watched Warren Sapp and how he responded to Michael Parsons. And it's funny, you know. Warren Sapp is one of those dudes. Warren Sapp is one of those dudes that you don't want to ask Warren Sapp something unless you want the truth. Just don't ask Warren Sapp. Because Warren Sapp is going to give you an answer. Warren Sapp is going to give you an answer that's not going to be politically correct. Then I'm going to read some more of y'all comments. But this dude, man, Warren Sapp, I don't know. I mean, I just don't know how you can argue with it. Let me see here. The New York Post. Now, I'm actually laughing when you look at what some of these people are saying. I wanted to find the video. There's a lot of write-ups on it. And people are talking about his bizarre. No. Actually, it's not bizarre. Let me tell you what happens to this team. I got the video right here. Let me tell y'all what happens to this team. The fan base becomes at the mercy of the media. We believe a lot of media narratives. Just like we believe the narrative of Dak Prescott's contract was the reason why we couldn't sign players. Meanwhile, we keep watching other teams continue to sign other players. We watched the Detroit Lions do it. We watched the Philadelphia Eagles do it. We've watched the Baltimore Ravens do it. And we're going to continue to watch other teams just continue to pay their quarterback $50+ million, and they're still going to sign players around them. We're going to keep doing it, and then we're going to keep listening. At least I hope we don't know more, because they said they're going to do this better. Because Jerry Jones finally admitted it. We have not been doing the salary cap right. Thank you. Could the fans now jump on and say, okay, now we understand? We still got these same haters talking about contracts when contracts are not the problem of why you cannot sign players. It's an excuse. That's all it is. And so Warren Sapp, when he makes this statement, at first here you think that Warren Sapp is crazy, because I don't understand why anyone is calling it bizarre what he says. It says that one of Warren Sapp's interviews on Radio Row ahead of Super Bowl 2025 took a strange turn when the Hall of Fame defensive tackle walked out of his segment with Infinity Sports Network. Host Zach Gelb asked Sapp about Penn State edge rusher Abdul Carter, where he fit alongside some of the other top names, including Shedeur Sanders, Cam Ward, and Travis Hunter in the 2025 NFL Draft. And Sapp flipped the question around by asking, what was the last edge rusher from Penn State? Now watch this. Let me show you something about Warren Sapp that people are not accepting. When Warren Sapp says, what was the last edge rusher from Penn State? You don't think he already knows that Michael Parsons is from Penn State? Let that sink in. I don't understand why anyone is calling his response strange. No, he is saying what I've said before and what others, some of y'all have said. Anyone who's looking at these games, looking at the stats, looking at the analytics even. We let Pro Football Focus tell us all these things about quarterback pressures and blah, blah, blah. We never talked about those things with the greats. Now, we didn't talk about pressures. We talked about sacks. That's what we talked about. We talked about tackles. We talked about what they did, not these other fancy analytical stats like quarterback pressures. Okay, what did the quarterback pressure cause? I want to know what it caused. Did the pressure cause a fumble? Did the pressure cause someone else to get the sack? Did the pressure cause an interception? Quarterback pressure is just a fancy word for I didn't sack the quarterback. And when you start talking about these quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes, okay, quarterback pressure. And all he does is throw a touchdown on you. All he does is get out the backfield on you. We're talking about Lamar Jackson. Okay, what does quarterback pressures mean to Lamar Jackson? What does it mean to Joe Burrow? What does it mean to Josh Allen? What does it mean to Dak Prescott? When you talk about quarterback pressures, there's a reason why teams stopped blitzing Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott was killing teams he was killing these teams that were blitzing. Killing them. No, we're going to drop 7. We'll rush 4. We'll get to the Cowboys. Go look at the Green Bay game. We'll rush 4 and drop 7. Because there are certain quarterbacks, they eat up quarterback pressures. So I'm saying all this to say, y'all don't think Warren Sapp keeps up with pass rushers? So I don't understand why anyone is actually calling this strange. It's actually not strange. Sapp is actually telling you, not just an opinion, but his perspective on Micah Parsons based on what he's seen and based on what the stats say. Because the funny thing is, if you listen to Gelb, you would think that Warren Sapp is crazy and he's telling the truth. But I'm going to show you it's Warren Sapp who sounds crazy but is actually telling the truth. And this Gelb guy is the one that actually sounds crazy and is telling the lie.
Shador Sanders, what is he going to be in the NFL?
Pretty good damn quarterback.
But great or just pretty damn good?
Pretty damn good.
Okay.
Great means you're in the hall. I don't use anything other than great when you're talking about a gold jacket. He was born to play this position. Now it's what you put around him. Do you try to mold? Do you get an offensive coordinator and a head coach that says, I don't really want him, but the owner wanted him and the GM wanted him, and now we're going to do what we did to Bryce Young down in Carolina. Mm-hmm. You saw what they did when they finally got behind him starting winning games, right? So all you got to do is put a system in that goes to his strength. Vince Young was 30-17. I still don't understand why that man wasn't in Tennessee. How do you win 30 of your first 47 games and nobody wants you? How is that possible? But, you know.
Facts. Facts on top of facts. I don't see anything he said that's wrong. And everything he's going to say, see, this guy Gelb. Now, you think about this. Warren Sapp works for Colorado. But Warren Sapp is built different. He's not like some of these people who try to already, man, Jaden Daniels is the best quarterback in the NFC. He going to the Super Bowl. Shut up. Let this man's career play out. Stop judging a man off 1 year. Stop being so quick to crown these quarterbacks. Let them play the game, man. We build these guys up, and then they come back to earth the second year, and then the third year they're struggling, and then we start talking about, oh, they're terrible. The same people who were calling them the next great thing be the same people tearing them down. Man, shut up. Let these players develop. This league got a way of humbling you. This league get tape on you, you look different. When it don't have tape on you, you look different. Did anybody notice how different Cooper Rush looked this year? It's a difference when you're playing with the defense playing out of its mind, special teams playing out of its mind, and the other teams don't really know what to expect from you. They don't really have no tape on you, and they cater a game plan specifically for you. And then when they got tape on you, and then when you play the good teams, they absolutely expose you and leave you bare and say, this isn't what you think it is. Warren Sapp is saying the same thing that anyone with sense has been saying about Shador. Because I even said, I'm concerned about Shador Sanders because people do not understand. Colorado at the skill positions. I'm talking wide receiver. They're 4 or 5 deep. Both sides, 4 or 5 deep almost at wide receiver. You're not getting that in the pros. You're just not getting that in the pros. The drop-off from your number one receiver, it like I said last night, it may not be off the curve. It may be off the top of the house. And if you're the Dallas Cowboys, it's off the cliff. So rather than you having 2 and 3 and 4 wide receivers like he had at Colorado, he only had one. Shedeur throws a great ball. I think his placement of the ball is great. But if you thought you were getting your head knocked off at Colorado with no line, you mess around and go to one of these teams and they don't have a line, man, you won't last 2 years. These grown men hitting you. These are grown men hitting you in the prime of their career. So Warren Sapp is saying exactly what he needs to say. Let's not say this kid is going to be a Hall of Fame quarterback. Gosh, how do you call a guy great until you let his career play out? Let his career play out. I'm telling you.
Once you get him, he was born to play his position. Just put something around him and he'll be fine.
And he's kind of born for a big stage, too. No offense to Cleveland or Tennessee.
Always.
I want to see Shedeur Sanders with the Giants.
The Giants,
and
right?
so does he, because at the Heisman, he's playing catch with Malik Neighbors on the street.
On the street, yeah, I saw him like that.
I've never seen something like that.
But that's what he is. He's a magnet for greatness and to pull it out you because he's that.
How does Travis Hunter get used in the NFL? I was talking to two Giants.
I
was talking to two Giants the other day. They're debating it. How would you use him if you're coaching him in the NFL?
He's my starting corner. I just took away 1/3 of the field, and I have a package for him on offense because the NFL is so wide open. Nobody hits anybody anymore. They're just running everywhere anyway. So put him over there on offense, get him 6 to 12 plays a game, give him the ball 5-6 times a game. It'll really aid your football team.
Is he the best player in this draft?
Yeah.
Where does Shedeur fall in that?
Right behind him.
Yeah.
And then Cam right behind him.
Abdul Carter, too, Penn State. Edge rusher. He's pretty good.
All right. What was the last edge rusher from Penn State?
Micah Parsons.
And what rushing he doing?
Hey.
Hold on. Warren Sapp has been dropping nothing but dimes this whole interview. So we don't think that this dude no pass rushing? You can tell me anything you want to about his checkered past. We all have one. Let's stop playing. But one thing I know Warren Sapp knows. Warren Sapp knows football. He knows defense. He knows what a great rusher looks like. Now, I don't think he's saying that Micah isn't great. I don't think he's saying any of that. I think he's just saying what he sees. People, and this is one of the things that has been so wrong about Micah Parsons. People have put him on a pedestal way too quick. It's the same conversation we keep having even with these players. I see people in the chat keep talking about Jaden Daniels. I'm not listening to you talk about Jaden Daniels. Stop it. Dak Prescott did this stuff in his rookie season too. C.J. Stroud did this stuff. We've seen this. I mean, we keep seeing this over and over and over, man. We keep seeing it. But this is professional football. It's the business of football. And when you can't get players, sometimes you can't get players. Sometimes there's injuries. They get film on you. You just look different once they get used to you. We don't even let people's careers play out. And in some instances, we're just crowning people. We pick and choose, oh, Dak beats bad teams. But we give Micah Parsons credit for getting sacks against bad teams. Where are the sacks against the 49ers? Where are the sacks against the Green Bays? Where are the sacks against the Buffalo Bills? Where's the sacks against the teams when we really play teams and we really need Micah Parsons to say, hey, man, make a play. Take this game over on defense. Where are those games against the great teams? We think Warren Sapp lying? Is he making it up? He's saying what he sees. He's saying what the tape says. He's saying what the stats show.
Hey,
what pass rush he got? What?
Yeah.
You better look that up.
Yeah.
15 what?
He gets like 15 sacks a year.
You believe this?
Micah Parsons?
I'm going to leave you on that one.
You see what's wrong with these guys? This dude is like so many people that you see even when they talk about Dak Prescott. They're saying things They're talking football, but they haven't learned football. This man literally says Michael Parsons gets 15 sacks a season. My question is, against who, how, when, and where? Who are the teams? What's the situation? What's on the line? Tell me. Where are the big games? I've asked this before. Where are the signature games? People think this response is strange. I don't think it's strange. Some people may think, I don't think it's strange. Warren Sapp, you know why he gets up and walks out? Because my mama always said, if you don't have something good to say, don't say nothing.
We appreciate it. Thanks so much for leaving me hanging. You're leaving me hanging. Micah Parsons he's a good pass rusher. Shador say
I'd leave you hanging too. I would leave you hanging too. Because you're not talking facts, but you want to try to put me on the spot asking me about Micah Parsons. No, I'm going to let you go back and do some more research. You heard what he told him? Think you better look that up. Meanwhile, Micah Parsons walking around like his boo-boo don't stink, talking about I'm on Mount Rushmore. I'm on the Mount Rushmore pass rushers. Okay. Okay, I mean, I guess you're saying you're on the Mount Rushmore pass rushers. Somebody's probably arguing right now. Man, he does get 15 sacks a season. Micah Parsons does get 15 sacks a season. Yes, he does. Does he? Was Warren Sapp lying? Help me out. Was Warren Sapp lying? Is he talking semantics or is he telling the truth? This is what's wrong with so many content creators. This is what's wrong with even the Micah Parsons advocates. Y'all need to understand, one thing I know about Micah Parsons, he's similar to Jerry Jones. He loves he listens to what people say. He plays into those things, and he listens to what the media says about him. Rather than getting his nose in film, studying the film, studying the greats, trying to improve his game, doing everything he can do to possibly get better. You don't get better by calling guys saying, hey, man, how do I be a leader? I wish he'd call me up and ask. I just tell him. I tell him the same thing Darren Woodson said. How about you be committed? Stop worrying about all the things I hear you talk about. And how about you just be committed to the craft and committed to winning? That's what I would tell him. Because Micah Parsons actually walks around like he's a 15 sack per year pass rusher. 13 in 2021, 13 and a half in 2022, 14 in 2023, 12 in 2024. Now, I won't go in depth tonight like I really want to. Because then the question becomes, against who? When? What's the situations? Is it against the best teams? Is it pivotal moments? Is it playoff games? Is it big games? That's what I want to know. But don't tell me if it's against the Carolina Panthers. And you're going to go in the Carolina Panthers game and you're going to rack up against that offensive line. Oh, okay, you're going to rack up against that offensive line 2 or 3 sacks. Okay, I'm not listening to you. If you're talking about against the bad teams, I'm not listening to you. Who is it against? And I'm telling y'all, do not get me wrong on what I'm telling you. I like Micah Parsons. Love Micah Parsons. But I have to admit, he's very misguided. And the problem is he don't seem to want to let anyone guide him. You don't believe me? You have an agent and you're negotiating your own contract in the court of public opinion, and you keep saying, I'll take less? I'm just wondering if this is a facade. What does less mean? I went back and listened to an interview and I noticed something that he said. It depends on how aggressive we are in free agency. So what if the Cowboys are not aggressive? So now you won't take less? I'm telling us, we may not realize it, but this type of behavior is one of the problems with this team. It's one of the problems with this team. Do too much out here in the court of public opinion. Man, shut up. I give Dak a lot of credit because I'll be honest with you, I would have already stepped to Micah Parsons. I'm just telling you about me. I'd already stepped to this man. I would already step to him as a man and told him, hey, man, I just need you to just keep me out of your mouth, man. Keep the team out of your mouth. How about you just make everything you say about you? Stop saying things that other men have to answer for. Answer for your own things. Answer for your own gameplay. Be accountable for your own gameplay before you start trying to hold other men accountable. Because there are plenty of things we can see out there about you on tape that's not quite right. But I'm telling you, this is one of the issues with this team. And that's why this guy that was talking, man, this dude's very disingenuous. How you going to ask Warren Sapp about, now, don't get me wrong. Oh, hold on. Don't get me wrong. Now, I'm not in the same boat with I'm not in the same boat with Warren Sapp. I mean, he knows more than me, but I'm sorry, man. Hey, man. I would love to have Abdul Carter now. I'm not even for the trip like that. I'm not for the trip now. I would love to have Abdul Carter. Man, you get Abdul Carter and Michael Parsons together, man, they'll probably be a force to be reckoned with, especially if you get Demarion Overshown back healthy. Boy, they might be pretty nasty. And I think if Michael Parsons will allow Eberflus and his team to work with him the way that they want to, I think he'll be even better. I think Michael Parsons can be a 15 sack per season defensive end, especially if he would let them be more flexible to maybe say, hey, man, how about you rush from the linebacker position sometimes? How about you play linebacker? And we literally give you 10 to 15 opportunities a game just to flat out on passing downs. We're going to let you rush the passer. Let us be the judge of the game and when and how we use you. I just wonder. And it's a shame to say if he would let them. He's the player. He should be letting them do it. I mean, 13.1. I mean, this guy may not understand. Someone may, he's splitting hairs, 13.1 versus 15. That's a lot. That's a lot. 15 sacks per season. That's a lot. And yes, there's a big difference in 13 and 15. There's a difference. For sure. Ask any pass rusher. That's what Warren Sapp is talking about. And I'm telling you, I guarantee you, if you could sit down and talk to Warren Sapp, I bet you he'd take you to school more than I am. Warren Sapp would take us to school on Michael Parsons. Because I guarantee you, he would be pointing out exactly what I'm talking about. The who, where, when, what, and how. When is he getting these sacks? Who is he getting them against? What's the situations? He would be taking us to school on this. But we're in this analytical age. And people throw out all of these different types of stats that we never had in the past. And then we get on those stats and start saying, yeah, man, the quarterback pressures and blah, blah, blah. Man, again, what are the quarterback pressures resulting into? What are they resulting into? I mean, that's a crazy stat almost, isn't it? What have we just said for the quarterbacks? Hey, man, the yards only count to wherever the ball is completed, but the run after the catch doesn't belong to the quarterback. Couldn't we say that? Do you not know if a quarterback throws a 5-yard pass on the 5-yard line and it's a 95-yard, it's a 5-yard catch and a 90-yard run, what stat goes on the quarterback's stats? What do they say? Oh, Dak Prescott threw a 95-yard pass. Well, what if you didn't watch the film? What if you didn't watch the film? You would literally think that Dak Prescott threw a 95-yard pass, even though we did see him throw one in 2023. Was it like 95 yards, 96, something like that, through that bump? I mean, got out of that, spun out of that tackle against the Detroit Lions, throws a dime down the field to CeeDee Lamb. He probably throws it in the air probably by, 40 to 50 yards. CeeDee Lamb makes one move and runs it the rest of the way. But what if we did stats like that with the quarterback? Some of these things need context. You think about Joe Montana. Joe Montana had a lot of yards, with Jerry Rice and that whole West Coast. But if you look at some of the things that Jerry Rice did, Jerry Rice would take, that offense would take short passes and sometimes take them to the crib. 15, 20 yards after the catch. But we still give those yards to the quarterback. That's why I say the sacks need context. When, where, what, and how. I mean, how are they happening? What's going on? What's the team? What's the situation? How much impact did it make on the game? Or was it against a sorry team where in actuality, I think they had 6 sacks against the Carolina Panthers? Well, you get to stack up stats on sorry teams. And this is not exclusive to Micah Parsons. Everyone does it because a lot of the teams just aren't that good. So everybody does it. But I still say we need to make some context out of these things and not just use these things against Dak Prescott whenever we want to say Dak Prescott ain't all of that. And then we start saying, oh, he eats on sorry teams. What's that saying about the rest of the team? How do they get credit for the stats? How does Micah Parsons get credit for the stats against sorry team? How did Mike McCarthy get the credit for 3 12-win seasons? How does everyone get credit for all the wins, all the stats, except for Dak Prescott? No, Dak can't get the credit. No, he only beats the sorry teams. But everyone else gets to gloat on the stats against the sorry teams. Miss me. I'm not listening. Let me get to some of your comments here. D Block 88, Michael makes plenty of mistakes. You couldn't tell him that. Based on the things he said, you wouldn't believe it. The Cottage Shaw Sports, he said Troy was a turnover machine. Yep. No doubt about it. Turnover machine. People don't like it. He was a turnover machine. That's one of the reasons why they went and got him a run game. They had to. It's not that Troy Aikman wasn't good. Two things can be true. It's just is what it is. He was a turnover machine. And so people just don't like to hear the truth. They just don't like to hear the truth. You start talking truth and people start, you're giving your opinion. No, I don't give my opinion. The facts are right here if we will just accept them. The problem is we make up our own narratives and we don't want to accept the truth. I've done this before. I mean, it's right here. This I'm not pulling up stats that you can't get. I'm not paying for these. This is Troy Aikman by year. 89, 18 interceptions. 1990, 18 interceptions. 1991, 10 interceptions. Maybe we need to look at the amount of games he played. Look at this. He had 18 interceptions in 11 games. 18 interceptions in 15 games. He had 10 interceptions in 12 games. 1992, 14 interceptions in 16 games. We would literally be destroying Dak Prescott for 14 interceptions in a season. Because Dak Prescott typically isn't a double-digit interception thrower. But that year he came off that thumb, and that's the part people are not accepting. That was the thumb year. Now, last year he was forcing some balls to CeeDee Lamb. That offense was atrocious last year. I mean, even Tom Brady was saying that Dak Prescott don't have a chance. No separation. No line, poor separation, no run game, had no chance. But I'm not making this up. Troy Aikman threw a tremendous amount of interceptions. Look at this. This is the Super Bowl year, 14. 93, he got down to 6. He played 14 games. 94, he threw 12. He plays 16 games. 96, 13, 97, 12, 98, 5. And if you look at 98, he only played 11 games. He threw 12 and he ended his career with 14. And if you think about this, he played 14 games, he threw 12. He played 11 games in 2000 and he threw 14. We would kill Dak Prescott for this. We would literally kill Dak Prescott for this. And if you look at this, if you don't believe that Troy Aikman was benefiting from a run game and a defense, I'm telling you, you're going to weep tonight because I'm just pointing out facts to you. You're going to weep tonight. Look at how many touchdowns he threw in 89. What would we do? What would we do if Dak Prescott had a 9-touchdown season? What would everybody do? 1990, 11-touchdown season. 91, 11-touchdown season. I want y'all to just think about this. In Troy Aikman's best year, because I think 92 was his best year, because if I'm not mistaken, I think Troy Aikman got the MVP of the Super Bowl in 92. And he went off in that Super Bowl. It was a crazy season. This is Troy Aikman's, y'all. Let this sink in. Troy Aikman's best season. Don't touch Dak Prescott's best season. It ain't even close. Dak Prescott in 2021, Dak Prescott in 2023, Troy Aikman don't even come close to Dak Prescott. I'll tell you, I've already seen a couple of thumbs down. Well, you're going to weep tonight. I'm just giving you facts. No opinions, facts. Troy Aikman's best season is not even close to Dak Prescott's best season. Look at this. He had one season where he threw more than 20 touchdowns. 11 touchdowns, 23 in 92. Look at 93. 15 touchdowns. 94, 13 touchdowns. 95, 16 touchdowns. 96, 12 touchdowns. They were done with the Super Bowls after 96. 19 touchdowns in 97. 12 touchdowns in 98. 17 touchdowns in 99, 7 touchdowns. Let me show you something. I'm just showing you. You're going to weep tonight if you don't like facts. You're going to weep tonight. Look at Dak Prescott. Show me a season that Troy Aikman had better than that. Show it to me. Show me a season that Troy Aikman was better than Dak Prescott in 2023 and 2021. Dak Prescott, in one season, almost equaled 3 seasons of Troy Aikman throwing touchdowns. I'm telling you, you can tell me anything you want to. Dak Prescott is winning on the 92 through 95 Cowboys. Dak Prescott is winning big. Dak Prescott winning big. He ain't just winning. Dak Prescott is winning big. You know why? Because in that time frame, Dak Prescott was also a runner of the ball. Dak Prescott is winning big with the 92 through 95 Cowboys. You can love it or hate it. And with those coaches, we don't even realize Darren Woodson even hit on the coaches that they had up under Jimmy Johnson. The coaches they had. What? Norv Turner? Man, y'all better ask somebody. Y'all better ask somebody. Man, we talk about Dak Prescott like he chopped suey. This dude, Troy Aikman's stats don't even compare to this man's stats. They're not even the same ballpark. And watch this. And Dak Prescott hasn't even had the same teams. Name me one team Dak Prescott played on that was even remotely close to the 92, 93, 94, 95 Cowboys. Not a one. Not a one. There are not many teams in history that have played on a team as good as the 92-93 Cowboys. I'm telling y'all again, boy, I put that 92-93 team up against any team in history. Because that team was that good. I know we talk about the triplets, but that team, that offensive line, historical. Emmitt Smith, historical. Michael Irvin, historical. I was laughing the other day. Somebody was saying that Terrell Owens had been on a show. And Terrell Owens, they were asking him about Michael Irvin. And, you know, where does he see Michael Irvin? You know, he talking big trash about Michael Irvin. Oh, I put Michael Irvin at the bottom. Michael Irvin came back and hit him exactly where I would have hit him. He said, yeah, of course I'm at the bottom. Those Super Bowl rings weighed me down. You better believe they did. I'm going to tell y'all something. T.O. was a magnificent wide receiver. Man, I take Michael Irvin every day and twice on Sunday over Terrell Owens. These guys' mentality was different. Their mentality was different. And the issue is people don't realize it, but the Bible is right 100% of the time. Iron sharpens iron. I've said it before. You can't let a deer lead a pack of lions, but you can let a lion lead a pack of deer. The problem with this team, it's the top. It's the top. And they need to make some fundamental changes. And that's exactly what Darren Woodson has been explaining. That's what Darren Woodson is explaining. And the problem is with a lot of our fan base, we let the media dictate to us lies. They're telling us lies. And we eat them up. We eat them up. And I just showed us tonight. You can deny it all you want to, but the facts are the facts. There is no way possible that Troy Aikman is winning with these stats. He's not winning with these stats unless the team around him is phenomenal. Let this sink in. I want you to think about this. These are Cooper Rush. I mean, I'm just being honest. I'm not taking shots at Troy because I love Troy. But I'm just telling us the truth. So in 92, he threw 23 touchdowns. Troy Aikman throws 1.4 touchdowns per game. Tell me what the Dallas Cowboys would look like today if Dak Prescott was doing that. What would they look like? What if Dak Prescott was giving these performances? What would they look like? You think they're winning 12 games in a season? We would be killing Dak Prescott with these numbers. You want some more? So in 93, Troy Aikman threw 15 touchdowns. How do you get away with throwing 15 touchdowns in a Super Bowl season? Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Troy Aikman throws 15 touchdowns. He plays 15 touchdowns, 14 games. 1.07 touchdowns. That's basically one touchdown. That's one touchdown per game. What? How? How do you get away with this? In 94, the year they didn't go to the Super Bowl, he only has 13 touchdowns in 14 games. That's 0.9 touchdowns per game. How are they pulling this off? Now, you see why when you start digging into things, we're talking about Dak Prescott like he's absolute trash. But when you start digging into things, The stuff that Darren Woodson is saying is making sense. Dak Prescott is unequivocally the least of the Dallas Cowboys' problems. He's the least of their problems. 95, the last Super Bowl year. Troy Aikman, 16 games, 16 touchdowns. 16 touchdowns. Do y'all know that Dak Prescott has actually completed close to 70% of his passes his entire career? I want you to look at Troy Aikman. I'm just telling you. 61.5% completion percentage. There's a reason why people were arguing Troy Aikman, first ballot Hall of Famer. Ooh. Same way they're arguing about Eli Manning. Do y'all know that Eli Manning only has one less Super Bowl than Troy Aikman? I'm just giving you facts. He's got one less Super Bowl than Troy Aikman. And I bet you if you look at Eli's stats, I bet you they are very comparable and in some instances way better than Troy Aikman's. And Eli Manning didn't make that first ballot. I'm telling us, context matters. Troy Aikman played on a magnificent team. And I'm not saying I wouldn't have Troy Aikman as a quarterback. I'm not saying that. Loved Troy Aikman when he played with the Cowboys. But when you get older and now you can start looking at information, you realize how good that team was. That's all I'm saying. You realize how good that team was. And the problem with this team under Dak Prescott, we just won't admit it. We've been lied to by the media. These Dak Prescott teams, some of them have been good. But when you compare those teams to the other teams who were in the playoffs, they're better. Mike Fisher is finally admitting it. I heard him admit it. I caught about 10 minutes of his show, and I heard him admit it today. I was saying this long before I heard Mike Fisher say it. Anybody who's been following me know I said this. I said this early on. Nobody wants to admit it. The Green Bay Packers were better than the Cowboys last year. Period in the story. It was a terrible matchup. The Green Bay Packers were better than the Cowboys at that specific time. They were better. And that's why they beat the brakes off us. Wasn't Dak Prescott's fault. The whole team failed. They beat the brakes off of us. Freddie said it yesterday. The Dallas Cowboys in that Green Bay game, they had no plan of defense. Freddie said they couldn't stop him in his 6-wheel motorized wheelchair. That's just how bad that we thought that team was good because of 12 wins. But when we compare that team to other teams, okay, even if we make it past Green Bay, who else were we better than? Who else were we better than? We let the media tell us that these teams that we have are great, and these teams actually do not be great. They just don't. I'm going to finish the show with you guys' comments. Let me go all the way down here, so I can catch up. All right, let me go down. I'm going to go about 10 to 15, somewhere around here. Let me see. Let me start my, hold on a second. I want to start, let me see. I want to make sure I get some of Angie comments in here. Angie be dropping bombs in here. Let me see. Hold on a second. All right, let me go to David Everett. Troy has 3 rings and a gold jacket. No. See, this is where you're wrong, David Everett. Respectfully, you're wrong. Troy Aikman's team has 3 rings. This is what Darren Woodson was explaining. You're missing the whole point. This is what Darren Woodson is explaining. Troy Aikman does he have 3 rings? Yes, but why? I've already showed you his stats. His stats is not why they won those 3 Super Bowls. Those stats are pedestrian. Period. They're pedestrian. Those are literally Cooper Rush type stats. We would kill Dak Prescott with those stats. We would kill him. But Troy Aikman played on a great team. Can we finally admit he played on a great team? Darren Woodson talked about it. You need a team that's committed. The 92 through 95 Cowboys were committed. Jimmy had them committed. And the problem that's been here since Jimmy left, they have not had teams. They either lack players or they lack the coach. And man, we know what this team looked like between Troy Aikman and Tony Romo. They have not had it all working together. They haven't. And a big part of that is Jerry Jones. He's a huge part of that. He's a huge part of that problem. Terry Crisp, 2022, 13.5 sacks, 65 tackles, 3 pass defense, 3 forced fumbles, 2023, 14 sacks, 64 tackles. Okay. And then the year went to, but the problem is, Terry, you're giving me those stats, but you're not giving me the when, the where, and the how. All you have to do is look at Michael Parsons' stats. Where is he in the big games? Where is he? Look at his playoff stats. Tell me where he is. I've already done this exercise. I mean, you're probably late here. I appreciate you being here. I've already shown these stats, man. I mean, I can't do it all tonight. But I've already shown these things. I mean, this stuff is, I don't understand. We'll be saying this stuff. And it's readily available right here on the I mean, I'm sorry, you don't even have to look very hard to find the context of the very things I'm talking about. You can tell me anything you want to about Michael Parsons, and I can literally go back and show you game after game. And people talk about Dak Prescott, and I can show you game after game where Dak Prescott is wheeling and dealing against good teams, great teams, still wheeling and dealing. But then when you look for Michael Parsons in those games, where is he? Where's Michael Parsons in these big-time games? Where is he? Let me see if I can pull up a couple of games for you. I'm just going to pull up a couple of games for you in 2023. So let's start back here in 2023. This was that year that Dak Prescott was absolutely killing it. This is the Seattle Seahawks game. The Seattle Seahawks rolled up on us. The Seattle Seahawks rolled up in Dallas and scored 35 points. How did they score 35 points? Okay, let's go to, I just want to go to Michael Parsons. I'm going to show you Michael Parsons' impact in these big games. You notice how far you have to go down to find it? This is the Seattle Seahawks. 1 tackle, 1 assist. He had 2 tackles. Now, when you start talking about them weak teams, yeah, he's balling. But what I'm talking about when it's time to play the nitty-gritty teams where Michael Parsons is going to have a signature game, tell me what the signature games are. This was the Seattle Seahawks down the stretch. The Cowboys are going down the stretch. You go to these games, and they continue to show the same thing, whether people like it, love it, or hate it. You continue to see the same pattern. The same pattern. Michael Parsons, 2 tackles, 1 sack. 2 tackles, 1 sack. That's against the Philadelphia Eagles. Dak Prescott was wheeling and dealing in this game. 24, 39, 271, 2 touchdowns. Dak Prescott tore up the Eagles in this game. The Bills. Cowboys went to Buffalo. This was a problem right here. Dak was 21, 34, 134, 1 interception. Let's go to the defense. Micah Parsons only had 2 assisted tackles. Now, we'll kill Dak Prescott for this game. Micah Parsons had 2 assisted tackles. I'm telling you, when you start talking about Micah Parsons, you got to start talking about the games. What games are these? Who are the opponents? What's the situation? What's on the line? Because when it was down the stretch, and they were saying this about Micah Parsons, they've been saying this about Micah Parsons. When you look at him down the stretch, you see the same pattern over and over and over. Where is he down the stretch? Where is he? Where is he in the biggest games? Where is he? I'm just telling you the truth. And if somebody don't start speaking more truth to this young man, he's never going to improve. This is the Miami game. He had 2 tackles, 5 assisted, half a sack. This was a better game for him. They wound up losing this game, but it was a better game for him. But you continue to see this over and over and over. Every time you start looking at Micah Parsons' stats, your mind gets blown. 5 tackles in this one, 1 assist, 0 sacks. Now, understand this context. We saw this with Trayvon Diggs this year. Trayvon Diggs wouldn't tackle. So you know what teams started doing? They started running at him. They started throwing on him. So they forced him to get some tackles. So when we got Micah Parsons with the Detroit playing against the Detroit Lions, are we wanting him to make tackles? Yeah, we want him to make some tackles. But what we really want him to do is make an impact with sacks, because it is sacks that change games. You're a defensive end. You're supposed to be changing the game with sacks, and he's not changing. He's not game changing some of these games, especially these big games. He's not changing these games. And man, you can tell me anything you want to about Micah Parsons, but this Green Bay game was shameful. This Green Bay game was absolutely shameful for Micah Parsons. This man had 2 tackles. 2 tackles. 1 tackle solo, 1 assisted. This is Micah Parsons. You see this same pattern over and over and over, Micah Parsons. I wish the Cowboys would employ somebody like a Warren Sapp. It makes me wonder if Jerry doesn't want coaches who will literally get on the players. I wish he would get a Warren Sapp. Somebody who will get in his face and tell him you ain't all that in a bag of chips. Now put your hand down in the dirt and let me show you how to do this. I wish they would get a Darren Woodson. I wish they would get these kinds of coaches that we know that's going to come in here and still have the mentality of, hold on a second, bro, I did this better than you. I did it at the highest level. I've been here. Not only have I been here, I've done what you haven't done. They need some coaches that can coach like that. But as it currently stands, unless we get somebody in here like that, we're not going to see any improvements. We're not. Robert said Michael needs to get in the film room. Yes, he does. Study the people he's been compared to. Yes. And apply it to the game. He's not a finisher. I just showed it. I could do it all night. Micah Parsons, when you go back and look at his seasons, at the end, if you just look at the numbers and you go, wow, 12 sacks, 13, 14. Okay, win. Who was he doing this against? When you go up against a sorry team and you rack up 3 or 4 sacks, do we not understand what that does to your statistics for the year? Well, of course you're going in against a sorry team. Of course. It is going to help you with your stats. It's going to help you tremendously when you go up against these sorry teams. Everybody does it. I'm not blaming Micah Parsons for doing it, but look at the game against Carolina. Man, this dude went 3 tackles, 3 solos, 1 assisted, 2 sacks. You don't think that helped him out a lot? You got 2 sacks against Carolina. When you're going up against those teams, man, them things add up quickly. Man, when you can get 2 against a team like that, 3 against another team that's like that. Man, them stats add up so quick. Them stats add up so quick before you know it, you got your goals. You really get your goals. And so that's why I say when you start talking about Michael Parsons, let me tell you something. I don't understand why people are saying that I don't see why people are saying what Warren Sapp said is strange. He's looking at the readily available information. Look at the last game, the Washington Commanders. Look what he did. 2.5 sacks. You're already at 4.5 on 2 teams. And the Washington Commanders, Jaden Daniels was out of the game at halftime, even though the Cowboys were still kind of hanging in there with him through the first half. But the second half, they went with Marcus Mariota. And still were able to beat the Cowboys. Where's the game-changing play? Where do you get the sack to not let them get that last play so you win the game? I'm telling us, these situations, all of this stuff matters. And so when you're talking about Micah Parsons, I'm just saying, man, I love Micah Parsons. My problem with Micah Parsons is, though, he's got to let somebody coach him. And shame on Jerry, because it doesn't seem like Jerry will let anyone coach him. Jerry won't let anyone coach him. Just like I told the story with Dave Onstad. Dave Onstad said he knew things were going to go south when Jimmy Johnson stepped to Troy Aikman and told Troy Aikman, you cannot be the quarterback for the Cowboys throwing interceptions. And then in the same breath, they started pulling chairs, and Jimmy was like, what's going on? And they said, Jerry is having a press conference. This is when Jerry started the nonsense. And Jerry, after Jimmy tore into Troy Aikman, goes out and has a press conference talking about everything is good with Troy. Everything's good with Troy. He's our quarterback. Everything's good, blah, blah, blah. Jerry, you can't do that. Once you undermine the coach, you take away his authority and credibility. And now that quarterback or whoever that person is feels like that they don't answer to the coach, they answer to you. But thankfully, Jimmy was still able to have a very strong impression upon that team and really got it turned around. Miss Matrix, every other quarterback gets an injury pass except Dak Prescott every single time. Every quarterback gets every excuse except for Dak Prescott. Every quarterback gets every excuse. Every single time. Angie said, Joe knows they smell glue in the breath. I'm telling us. Dono said 2016 Steelers, Ravens, Packers. Okay, yeah, give me some more on that. Angie said, try throwing with a plate in your thumb. Dak came back. Dak still did great that season, but I think some of the throws, he couldn't make some of the throws. And I think that's what was leading to some of the interceptions too. John Stanley, I never seen a quarterback get taken up so much. Not true. You know how I know what you're saying is not true? Because Troy Aikman gets taken up for. Troy Aikman gets taken up for. And this is why I'm telling you with the stats that were showed, this is why people were arguing that Troy Aikman should not have been a first ballot Hall of Famer. You're not being true. No. The problem is people tell lies about Dak Prescott. This dude, I'm telling you, Dak Prescott would be a hero on any other team but the Cowboys. Any other team but the Cowboys. Dak Lucian is only allowed to use crayon scissors. Man, I'm telling you about this, man. It is crazy. It's crazy. Freddie said, just let the boys win the Super Bowl and watch how many Dak haters line up to kiss his butt. And it's going to happen. And I'm telling you, Freddie, it's going to happen. You're going to see the same people who were hating on Dak Prescott. All of a sudden, Dak Prescott going to be the man. David Everett. Yeah, I mentioned that before. No, it's not about what Troy has. Darren Woodson said it best. The team was committed. And that's why when you look at Troy Aikman's stats, that's why you can have those stats and still win, because you actually can't win with those stats as a quarterback in this league unless you have a great team around you. And I could go even deeper. I can go even deeper on this and really make people weep. Because we keep talking about Troy Aikman and blah, 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 but we don't want to talk about the real issue. Y'all ready for the real issue? See, I gotta keep giving stats to these Cowboy haters to these Dak Prescott haters, because they don't understand. Troy Aikman was not the driving force on the Dallas Cowboys. He was not the driving force. It was the defense, the offensive line, and the running game. You don't believe me? Emmitt Smith comes to town in 1990. Emmitt Smith, 937 yards, 16 games, 11 touchdowns. Hold on a second. 11 touchdowns? So you're telling me the running back got 11 touchdowns? Oh, that's how you're equaling out Troy Aikman. Hold on a second. 1991, Emmitt Smith, 16 games, 1,563 yards, 12 touchdowns? Hold on a second, Dak Prescott haters. You people who want to hate on Dak Prescott, let's look back at 1992. This is the first Super Bowl season. 1991 is the playoff season. 1992 is the Super Bowl season. You want to know why Troy Aikman can have these dismal stats? You want to know why in 1991 he can play 12 games and only have 11 touchdowns? 1992, again, the best year of his career, he had 23 touchdowns. But hold on a second before you jump to conclusions. 1992, Emmitt Smith had 18 touchdowns? What? 18. Emmitt Smith ran for 1,713 yards. Emmitt Smith is doing crazy work with the Cowboys. 1993, Emmitt Smith, 1,486 yards and 9 touchdowns. If you don't think that matters, you don't know football. Stop talking it. Talk it. Stop talking it and learn it. Emmitt Smith and this offensive line is doing crazy work for the 90s Cowboys. Look at 94-95. What do y'all think what do you think the Dallas Cowboys look like with Dak Prescott, with a running back? Look at these yards. Consistently, 5 seasons in a row, y'all. 5 seasons. Emmitt, 1563. Emmitt, 1713. Emmitt, 1486. Emmitt, 1484. Emmitt, 1773? What? Look at the touchdowns. 12, 18, 9. Emmitt Smith in 94 had 21 touchdowns, and in 95 he had 25. Tell me we're not winning a Super Bowl with a running back running like this. Oh, yeah, you're winning. You're going to the Super Bowl. I guarantee you, if you got a running game like this, it makes perfect sense why the Cowboys went to the playoffs in 91, went to the Super Bowl 92, went to the Super Bowl 93, went to the divisional game 94, and went to the Super Bowl in 95. When you got a running game this potent, man, you beating a whole lot of teams. Not to mention, what does the defense look like? Number 1, number 5, number 7, top 10 defenses all those years. You're going to the Super Bowl. When you get this combination of, you can control the line of scrimmage on defense, control the line of scrimmage on offense. You can run the doggone ball. You can get 18, 21, 25 touchdowns from your doggone running game. Your quarterback can have these numbers. Yeah. Your quarterback can have these numbers. Your quarterback can be 63% completion percentage. 69 was his greatest year in 93. You can have 64 completion percentage. You can throw 13 touchdowns, 15, 16. You can do that when your running game make sense. The Cowboys' running game in the winning seasons The running game is getting more touchdowns than the passing game. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. 10, 24, 30, 42, 49. Wait, I'm sorry. I was actually on the wrong number. It's even less. 91. So we got 11, 34, 49, 62, 78, somewhere in there. Let's look at Emmitt Smith. This is just off the top of my head. I'm not a mathematician. Look at Emmitt Smith in those same 5 years. This man, 30, 39, 60. Emmitt Smith, 85 touchdowns in the span of the Cowboys' playoff to Super Bowl run. You got a running game that potent? That's ludicrous. I don't care what anyone says. You're winning some doggone Super Bowls. You're winning some Super Bowls. You're winning some Super Bowls if you can run like that on teams. We do not understand what I'm saying, the folks who are just led by hate. You are literally a dominant football team. Man, you're a dominant football team. That is total domination. That's what the Cowboys were. I'm sorry, I'm just telling you the truth. We didn't talk like this for all you folk. I don't know how old some of y'all are. We didn't talk like this in the 90s. We didn't talk about Troy like, oh, yeah, man, Troy Aikman, best quarterback in the league. Troy did. No, we didn't talk like that because Troy wasn't leading the charge. Troy was the general. But when you talk about that, man, they were good everywhere. The Cowboys were good everywhere. Man, they were getting points on defense, special teams, offense, the whole 9 yards. Running the ball, passing the ball. The Cowboys were crazy all the way around. But now we in this new phase. Now we in the phase of it's Dak Prescott's fault. It's all Dak Prescott and nothing else. Yes, go ahead, Irvin. I know that's right. I'm telling you. Not only he surpassed Troy, but also Staubach. Man, people do not understand how good Dak Prescott literally is with lesser teams. Lesser teams, not the same, not better, lesser teams. And I'm sorry, it's hard to get better than the 92-93 Cowboys. I'm sorry. I mean, it's crazy. Who isn't winning on the 92-93 Cowboys when you talk about some of the best quarterbacks out there? Jim Kelly would have loved to been on those Cowboys teams. Jim Kelly was a flat-out gunslinger. There is nobody would have told you that Troy Aikman was better than Kelly. But what they would have told you is, but the Cowboys had a better team. Cowboys had a better team. There's not many people who would have told you Troy Aikman was better than Steve Young. They'd have laughed you out the room. They'd have laughed you out the room if you'd have told them Troy Aikman was better than Steve Young. But he didn't have the team that Troy Aikman had. Troy Aikman had a crazy team. Crazy team. Tell it like it is. We have nobody but Dak in the playoffs. Tell me I'm lying. Name one player who steps up in the playoffs besides Dak. I can't name one. Even CD fold and start dropping the ball and get clamped plenty. I can't name one. I really can't name one. I'm in total agreement with you. Dak will do better than good. He'll make it through this deal. He said Dak delusion was in charge of the cooler. Woo! Angel said, I taught Troy all he knows. Hey, man, Troy was a beast. He was a beast, Angie. I remember you being what? I hope that's not true. Tell it like it is. Pull up Jalen Hurts games and got him to the Super Bowl and tell me Dak can't go 13 to 23. Tell it like it is. He's been doing it this season. Jalen Hurts has been having games where he's not even throwing 20 passes. But when you got a running game, when you got a 2,000-yard running game, and the people don't give I'm telling you, people can say anything they want to say about the Eagles. I'm telling y'all they're better than the Chiefs. They don't have the better quarterback. They have the better squad. That roster is better. The thing that will make the difference for the Kansas City Chiefs will be Andy Reid, Steve Spagnuolo, Matt Nagy. And I do think that Mahomes will make a difference too. But I'm telling y'all, it's going to require a combination of the four, because if you look at the games where the Kansas City Chiefs even played in the playoffs, the running game gave them problems. Somebody got to question the Buffalo Bills. Somebody has to question the Buffalo Bills. Why did they abandon the run? Why did they abandon the run? Why did they go to Josh Allen? Why did they revert back to what was stopping them from winning? Putting the ball in the hands solely of Josh Allen. Taking the ball out of the hands of Josh Allen is what got them there. They only broke the glass on Josh Allen in emergency situations, but against the Kansas City Chiefs, all of a sudden, they want to turn him into what, the MVP of the game? I don't understand teams that do this. The Baltimore Ravens did the same thing. They abandoned what got them there. I don't care if they did stop Derrick Henry in the first quarter. Keep running him. Why do you go away from what got you there? The Eagles haven't done that. The Eagles know who they are. We're a running team. I mean, they know who they are. They are a running team. Kansas City Chiefs going to have problems with the Eagles. We're going to talk about that tomorrow in our Super Bowl show. But they're going to have problems with the Eagles. Run games travel. I don't care. Run games travel, man. When you can run the ball, I don't care who the quarterback is. Run games travel. AJ Metal, appreciate the super chat. Woo, boy, you just. Troy contributed 6 years to the 30 years of Super Bowl drought. People don't even want to talk about that, AJ. I'm going to file that in my Rolodex. People don't even want to talk about that. Yep. Look at Troy's years after Jimmy. After that 95 Super Bowl, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Man, people do not talk about it. Troy Aikman fell off a cliff. And the reason why he fell off a cliff, he didn't have the team around him no more. The team began to dissipate. Team got older, team dissipated. He didn't look the same. You think about Troy Aikman's record. Troy Aikman, first 3 years, 0-11, 0-11, 7-8, 7-5. They get 3 Super Bowls in 4 years. 96, 10-5, 6-10, 7-4, 7-7, 4-7. That's Troy Aikman. You would literally think, if you listen to people, you would think that Troy Aikman was tearing the league up. And I want y'all to think about this. We talk about Dak Prescott missing games and injured. You haven't noticed something about Troy? 11 games, 12 games. End of his career, 11 games, 14 games, 11 games. Troy was starting to get knocked around a bit, having concussion issues and whatever else. Now, Dak Prescott has had some absolute freak injuries. I think Dak's going to be okay. We'll see what happens in the next 4 years, but I think Dak will be okay the next 4 years, especially if they go the direction that I think they're going. They're going to start running the doggone ball, which is what they should do, because if you look back at the Cowboys historically, this is actually how they've always won. 70s Cowboys, triplets. Drew Pearson, Roger Staubach, Tony Dorsett. And the defense was absolutely crazy back then, too. I mean, we could name the plethora of players like Too Tall Jones, Hollywood Henderson, Waters. Man, they had so many players. So many players. You go back to the 90s. They had the triplets, and they had the same formula. Troy, Irvin, Emmett. Historical offensive line, historical defense that no one talks about. We haven't got the formula. Woodson talks about that in the interview. He said Jerry wants to win, But for whatever reason, Jerry can't figure out the formula in this present age. Yeah, because he does not do the salary cap well. That's his problem. Yes. Hey, man, appreciate y'all rocking with me. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button if you haven't already. If you haven't subscribed, please do. And if you really want to support the channel, please become a member. Hopefully we'll be back in the studio, man. We're gonna probably gonna be working on this studio for the next couple of weeks. So it's gonna look totally different in another couple of weeks, man. I'm working on some new graphical things. Don't y'all worry, we're gonna get the call-in show up and going. Got a lot of things coming. Got some sponsors. We're gonna be doing some stuff. Got a lot of good things coming, man. I appreciate all the support. Has really helped grow the channel. Just want y'all to keep rocking with me, keep helping me grow it. Eventually, we'll get some collaborations going with some of these other content creators and even some of y'all. Let me read the last few comments here. Hope y'all enjoyed the content tonight. Came with a lot of facts. I'm just telling you, man. I'm telling you, I don't be giving my opinion on this stuff. I'm giving you the facts on this stuff. Let me start with Angie. Angie said, Dak delusional butchering everybody. Darren Bentley said, the issue is when Jimmy got the team out of the toilet and making money, Jerry sold his soul for $1 and not Super Bowls now. He helped create the salary cap and it's bit him in the butt. Daryl, I made the same argument and people didn't believe me. This man was the architect of the salary cap. And Daryl, the reason why he did it is because Jerry was working behind the scenes, getting the NFL, all the endorsement deals, all the TV money. Jerry saw all this money coming down the pike. And Jerry said, no. I'm in this to make money. There's no salary cap, and I'm not going to be in an arms race on players like I got with Deion Sanders. No. I done got my 3 Super Bowls. Salary cap. We want to be rich. And he chose money over the team. He chose money over winning. Facts, he did. Renan, what's going on? He said, back to the Emmett quote. Genty will be part of the playing around Dak one way or another. With a wide receiver 2 and an upgrade on steal position, this offense will be hard to beat. I said the same thing. That's it. And if it's not Genty or Marion Hampton, they can't lose in this draft, Renan. They cannot lose. They cannot lose. The Cowboys will get a running back even if it's not Genty. And if you can't get Genty, and if you can't get McMillan, trade back. And still get Omarion Hampton and get you an additional either number 2 or 3 draft pick. And then you can really do some damage. You can get that wide receiver with the 2nd pick. You can get a D lineman with another if it's a 2nd or 3rd pick. And then with your other pick, if you want to, do what you want. Get your cornerback, do whatever. Edgy. Boy, I bet Edgy used to play the dozens back in school. Edgy said, I can't take anyone seriously if they can't spell properly with the right answer in your face. Oh, man. MG, I don't believe you. Dak makes it to the Super Bowl, I believe, in 2026. Freddie Morales, had Jerry not helped develop the salary cap, a lot of teams would be out of business right now. Oh, you're right. I believe you too, Freddie, on that. I think I'm not so mad about him, and I'm not even mad about him with the salary cap. I just think he should be, if anybody should be good at it, it should be him. Man, he's terrible at it. He is. Oh, 3. Dak is the new Romo, only appreciated when he's gone. Yes, sir. I'm with you. Angie said you not only butcher his name, but every other word. Angie, raw boy. Troll knows. I was inspired by watching Dak Delusional Life Story. Boy, y'all killing me, man. Boy, y'all killing me in these comments. Y'all killing me in these comments, man. Yo, Brian, I appreciate you. Another great show. Yes, sir. Appreciate you. Yeah, we're going to do the Super Bowl show tomorrow. Cottage Show Sports said, great facts, G. Great show. Yes, sir. That's all I try. I try to come with them facts, man, because it's the only way you can fight these people. Rolando, let's talk Cowboys. You forgot about the 80s. Danny White went to, oh, man. Man, I cried for Danny White, Rolando. I cried for Danny White, man. Man, I wanted Danny White to get a Super Bowl so bad. And I'll never forget, man. Joe Montana rolls to the right, and everybody said Joe Montana threw that ball out the end zone. And that doggone tall Dwight Clark, man, I jumped up in the air because I thought it was going to be an incompletion. And that doggone Dwight Clark jumped up. It looked like he jumped out of nowhere and caught that touchdown. Man, I cried. Boy, I cried that day. Golly, I cried that day. Man. Boy, and I tried to be hard. Boy, I was a kid then, man. I remember I had to go outside, man. I told my dad, I said, man, I'm going outside for a bit. Man, I went outside, boy. I cried like a baby over that loss, man. Woo! Appreciate you, Sheldon. Appreciate you. William Curtis. I like Michael. I do too. But he talks too much, man. Yes, sir. You got to be quiet. He is jealous of Dak. I see that. Yeah, he is. You can tell in his speech. Alex, great show, G. I appreciate you. Appreciate you, Jonathan Tippett. Yes, sir. Respect. Wesley said, y'all mofos crazy. Man, I'm telling you, I'm kind of rolling on the comments. I love how the boy, y'all be killing me. 03 joined late, but you were spitting the whole way through. DC4L, yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, guys. Lead time, me too, G, man. I was hurt for Danny. Boy, lead time. Boy, I don't think I've ever wanted a quarterback. Man, I really want Dak to win one. Lead time. I don't think I've ever wanted a quarterback to win a Super Bowl better than Danny White, man. Boy, it get me messed up just thinking about it right now. Golly, man. Boy, I wanted Danny White to win a Super Bowl so bad, so bad, boy, I don't know what to do. I'm telling you. Yes, sir. Facts to back it. G, congrats. I see those subs. Man, yeah, appreciate you, man. God be the glory. Yes, sir. We've been growing. I'm hoping by the end of this month, man, we're going to get to about 8,000. Robert, hey, they going to get a running back. Don't you worry, Robert. They going to get a running back. And I think if Genty is there, he gets it. He gets it. I think he gets it. I think they definitely get Genty. No doubt about it. Richard said if Lamar would have made it to a Super Bowl or AFC Championship, maybe he wins it. But he didn't. Saquon should have won it. I think so, too. I think if there was a year you could have gave it to someone other than the quarterback and made it into a legitimate MVP, it would have been this year. They messed it up. Messed it up just like they did last year. Drew Real Darryl, the Def Company Jail. Boy, Edgy and Dro Nose going hard in here, man. Man. That's going to do it for me, guys. That'll be my time. I appreciate y'all. Dro Nose says, oh, let me get Dro Nose. Edgy last word. Gee, that's how I felt about Dak Illusion when he lost the Cuban college championship game. Boy, you're an Edgy crazy. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll be doing a Super Bowl show. Until the next time, let's talk facts. Hold on a second. My man, Jerry, what's going on, man? Man, I've been in here killing it, man. What's going on? Dak Prescott is over criticized. Yeah, I really believe that, do you? This man's a terrific quarterback. Yes, sir. I've been in here doing them facts on him tonight. Yes, sir. I see TC College. Girl, you crazy. All right, man. Let's talk Cowboys. We talk facts. Peace.